Do well.
And I think we're live. Welcome again, everyone, for Dissected Alive 35. Although my file says it's 43. I'm kind of confused which episode we're on. Imagine that.
Yeah.
A beanie. Anyway, and for a great start of this stream, I immediately need to leave for a bit for 5 minutes because I have something left to do. So, can someone say something boring that nobody cares about for a bit?
I could talk about mortgages.
Yes, great idea. Go ahead.
Perfect.
Luke, educate us.
Yes. For the last couple of months, I've been trying to sort a mortgage out for this flat that I found back in August. We settled on a deal of 180 grand, and after a couple of months, I found a bank that gave us a really good deal on our mortgage. So a good mortgage deal. So now I'm trying to sort out fees. I'm trying to sort out. I was Sarah. I was the cap. Where was I? Oh yes, I'm trying to sort out fees with the mortgage lender. Trying to sort out fees with the solicitor, and trying to sort out fees with the conveyancer, who have to do conveyancing checks and valuation checks as well, and also doing things with the lease. I mean, it's going to take a couple of months, but if things go well, then I might be getting my own place either by hopefully beginning of next year.
Hopefully that'll be a good thing for you then.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot to take in, really, where to talk about mortgage fees and trying to work out your own living costs, because things are going to hell over here. You don't understand, Ewan. With all the prices going up and taxes and all that, and just cost of living, heating bills, that sort of thing. So
yeah.
So now we're trying to work out how I'm going to sort out my own budget and that. So but hopefully it'll be all right. And next year, probably working out what to sort out my heating, electric, my food, furniture, that sort of thing, because I probably won't be saving so much. But as things goes on, I'll be budgeting my own money pretty well, and be able to sort out my own money, and hopefully the British economy will be all right in the year or so.
Hopefully so. Otherwise, you'll have to end up purchasing yourself one of those exercise bikes and having it connected up to the electricity.
Well, that's pretty lucky because that's a pretty good idea, because every Friday I do exercises, and I use my I use the family exercise bike, so that'd be useful. And also good about the place. It's near the family home, so I don't have to worry about living too far away from the parents, and I could pop over if I want to. Maybe pop over there for a meal, or sort out laundry if money is a bit of a problem.
Yeah, that's one advantage. Okay, I'm back.
Yeah.
But please continue in our mortgages.
Well, it depends if anyone else has experience with mortgages and that, because this is my first time trying to work out a mortgage. I've got my parents helping me out and supporting me, because it's very complicated, trying to sort out all the forms and trying to do a bit this and that with the mortgage lender and the solicitors and all that.
I'm a renter, so I don't know. Sorry. But, always useful to get second-hand stuff when you first start. You can always buy new stuff later.
Yes, there is furniture stores, second-hand furniture stores where you can buy stuff. But yeah, hopefully I should be all right, especially with living on my own for the first time in over 35 years.
That'll be exciting. Can I finally eat anything you want? Have anything for dinner you like?
Well, with the cost of everything going, I'll still get my meals at the parents, but yeah, I can buy my own stuff really, or just go and order stuff. Because what's convenient is near where I live, there's a new shop opening. There was a new shop that just opened that sells American sweets and that.
That's nice. Although, yeah, if you're short on money, then letting food get delivered is probably not a good idea. That's expensive. Grocery shopping is cheaper.
Why?
Yeah, and also like trying to like do cooking as well, learning how to do meals and that.
Yeah, that's gonna be part of the deal. You never cooked before?
Oh, I do cook, but nothing like too elaborate. But the idea of cooking like really good, really all these meals. I've got a couple of cookbooks, so it'll be interesting to learn what I can cook.
Alrighty, cool. Well, next time I come to visit, you get to show off your cooking skills for us. You already did for us. So now it's your turn.
Can you cook up a mean curry, Ewan?
No, but I can burn stuff on a barbecue.
Oh,
there you go. Well, my curry is very mean because everything is spoiled and molded, and then it really gets a very nasty attitude. So there you go. That was a bad joke. Sorry. No response.
Most stuff that I burn are bananas.
You burn bananas?
Yeah, so like the story behind that is that I used to have like this mini oven thing, like you plug it in.
Easy bake oven?
Yeah, something like that. But yeah, it's one of those things, you pop in like a chicken patty or just something small to heat things up. So one day I bought some bananas and I left it on the little mini oven stove. And when I was cooking up a chicken patty for dinner, apparently I forgot to take the bananas off the stove. So I took them off and the bottom scorched black. So it kind of became a running gag with my parents, like, oh, make sure you don't burn the bananas,
Hey, fried bananas are delicious, although they need to be battered first, I'm afraid.
Have you tasted them?
Oh, no, I didn't taste them when they got burnt, no.
Oh.
I'm sure there's some country that cooks bananas or something.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
Chinese restaurants, they often have fried bananas. They're delicious. But they need to be battered, which I presume Melting Man wasn't.
No, I haven't tried those kind of things now.
You culture barbarians. Oh, well, I'm sure you eat a lot of stuff I don't eat. Especially when it involves fish. I'm not a fish eater.
Yeah, I'm fine with fish. I usually get, fish and, fries over at Applebee's and whatnot. But, of course, the normal term is fish and chips.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. So, shall we get started, or do we have more silly cooking stories to share about our failures as cooks?
Nah.
No, I can't think of any. I don't really do much of my own cooking. Most of it is just popping leftovers in the microwave and that's it. And that's my sad, pathetic personal life.
Well, I once did smoke up the entire kitchen trying to fry bacon because it turns out I used the wrong kind of frying pan because I was using a frying pan that's used to cook pancakes.
Oh.
I wasn't using a proper frying pan.
That actually kind of reminded me of another incident that I had. It was years ago when I was very young. So I was in the mood for popcorn. So you put them in the microwave for a certain time and they pop up and whatnot. Well, apparently I didn't read the instructions of how long to cook them. So I put them in too much time, and then the microwave almost caught on fire. But yeah, my parents were screaming oh, we gotta put it out, that kind of thing.
That's a good story, you Melting Man. Thanks. I feel much better about my own cooking now.
Well, yeah, that was years ago. I haven't tried making popcorn in ages. I don't know. I feel it's mostly just because I'm very paranoid with cooking. I have a stove in my apartment and whatnot. It's just, it's always that paranoia. It's oh, is the stove left on? Is it going to overcook? That kind of thing.
Anyway, I think there's a trick with popcorn. You have to wait 4 seconds between the pops, and then you know it's about ready or something. Not that I should be talking so proudly, because my popcorn is usually kind of bad, too. Oh, well. None of us are cooking kings, are we? Any of us ever made chili dogs? I mean, we're all Sonic-obsessed losers, so...
Actually, yeah. So, there was... I think it was an Archie Sonic comic, so Melting Man could probably verify this, but there was an actual recipe for Sonic's chili dogs.
Yeah, I think there was a small mini story where Sonic talks about making his own chili dog or whatnot.
Okay, so wherever the recipe came from, it's even on the Sonic wiki. I made those for my high school graduation party, and they were freaking delicious.
That's good. Because that would have been a disaster of like if you gave them like bad chili dogs and all going like,
They can come and lie to me.
I actually also one time shared the recipe with Ryan Drummond on Twitter because like he said something like to the effect of, "Oh, who's cutting onions?" And I posted the recipe and I said, "Me, the recipe calls for them." and he clarified some thing. He's like, "Oh, you actually need like 2 tablespoons of cumin or whatever."
Ooh, so he gave you
So-
improved.
Yeah, Ryan Drummond has his own improved recipe for Sonic's chili dogs.
You're Americans. You all have your own unique chili dog. I mean, doesn't The Simpsons have like a whole episode about it? Everyone makes their own chili and all that?
yeah.
Oh yeah, the
Oh,
chili
yeah.
episode.
I like to
yeah.
think that every American has their own personal chili dog barbecue sauce recipe thing going on.
Oh well, yeah, they do have a lot of chili cooking competitions, and like my friend's dad is like really huge into those, which is kind of ironic because like he's anosmic, which means he can't smell,
Oh, okay.
and he loves cooking chili. So thankfully, he's very good at it.
That's good.
I did
Yeah.
read a DC comic where like Green Arrow was serving up chili to the Justice League that they can't handle, and there's like a recipe for it that I might try trying out.
Wow, now that's a challenge. Here's the chili that even Superman can't handle. Do you
I-
dare?
I know exactly what you're talking about, and like the chili is so hot that it broke Green Lantern's will.
Ouch.
Superman tried to cool it down with his frost breath, and Batman thought it could use some hot sauce.
I think you said that you need more crackers.
Oh, something like
He's
that.
more crackers.
Batman loved it.
So he does have a warm heart after all. Or at least a warm stomach, anyway.
Yeah, Batman's chili dogs. Batman approved.
There we go.
Let's need more crackers.
Oh, yeah, I found it. I'm sending it.
But hey, if any of us have more important cooking recipes to share, better wait for next time when we have an Halloween episode for a true
there we go.
horror.
Yeah, we poison each other with our own delectable candies.
There you go. I think it's about time we start on Sonic X. Wouldn't we agree? Wouldn't you?
Yep.
Yeah.
Our our finale of the weird underground volcano episode or something. Anyone wants to do a synopsis?
Yeah, I could do that because there's a lot going on in this episode.
Yeah, pretty much.
All right.
Go
Okay. This is basically Sonic in the land that time forgot because Eggman wants to, I think, stimulate the world's belly button to set off all the world's volcanoes. Which I think is a bit weird for them to say. At least it's not like stimulate the world's butthole or anything.
The world's arse. Yeah.
It's a very weird name. Yeah.
Because we'll definitely be needing chili for that.
Oh, boy.
Bringing it back.
Where was I? Oh yeah, Eggman goes into the volcano. So Sonic, Knuckles, and Rouge decide to go a bit of cave spelunking, going down caves and going down pits and that. And there was like a really cool 3D effect where they go down this tunnel that you don't see a lot in the Sonic X episodes. It was kind of like that bit in the Matrix where like the mirror goes down Neo's throat and you get that really cool tunnel effect. So they all end up in the land that time forgot or something, and I don't really remember a lot what was going on, but basically there was like, Eggman's like really hungry, so he sends out Deco and Boko to find food, which they're a bit annoyed about. Rouge is like looking for emeralds. Chris, I have no idea what he's doing.
Mostly running for his life.
While looking for food, Deco and Boko accidentally encounter Mothra, who is like only there for 2 minutes or something. They capture Chris, because like he was there, and like then Eggman talks about his evil plan. Then the place they turned up had all these ruins, and it's kind of like that one level from Sonic 3. I forgot what it was called. Marble Garden Zone. That was it.
This is the most classic Sonic-y Sonic X ever looked. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, exactly. So as Eggman is about to like tickle the world's belly button or something, there's like a new monster that looks like a giant robotic Godzilla thing that's like attacking everything. So Sonic, Knuckles, and Rouge team up to fight it. There was also this bit where like Rouge is looking, as she was looking for emeralds. She's making this expression like she's calling out, but there's like no voice coming from her, and so she looks like she's just doing that face in complete silence.
It was a very weird shot. Yeah, I think 4Kids drew her mouth closed to make it slightly less weird. But
so as I go.
So shocked.
Help! My hands are glued to my head.
Well, she tries to look for Chris, but she doesn't want to. She's like, Chris, oh, fuck you.
Yeah, maybe that's why her mouth is open. She's like very, very quietly saying Chris.
Like, he doesn't actually want to fly.
He was trying to impersonate Edvard Munch's scream. So anyway, back to fighting the giant robot monster thing. They managed to defeat it, and there's this bit where like Chris, Deku, and Boko are like really good friends, and it looks like Deku and Boko sacrificed their own lives to stop it. And he was like, "Oh, Deku and Boko, I only knew you for 2 minutes, but I miss you so much." But it turns out they're alive, and Rouge also got this like emerald thing that she got out of her ass, but the scientists took it, saying, "No, it's my emerald now." And also it ends with Deku and Boko announcing their defection from Eggman.
Dramatically, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is kind of loud.
Which only lasted one episode.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, plenty to say about this episode. A lot of crazy stuff. Sala, you want to start? You have some observations?
Yeah, so one of my first observations is like when the scientist like opens up the ancient box that they found, and there's like the gem in it, and I don't know, Rouge's reaction is kind of adorable to me, where she's like somehow unaware that archaeology can sometimes find gems.
Guess she hasn't watched any Indiana Jones movies.
Yeah.
But to be fair, real archaeology doesn't really involve that many jewels, I think. But mostly just,
mostly
rocks
bones and vases.
Yeah. Yeah, the list
realistic.
Yeah, and it was found by Mr. Tanaka punching a rock.
Yeah.
Oh, that is so funny. Yeah, we should talk about that. So first, the two asshole gun agents from the last episode randomly show up. They still feel so random. I think they're still parodies or something, but whatever. But yes, they're yelling at Topaz for being captured. So then they send Tanaka to kind of like damn it, be nice to Topaz to kind of like support her. And it just immediately cuts to him just smashing rocks up. Like that's his only way of calming her down. Like not even talking to her, just like what? Like, okay, better now.
It's kind of weird with how Tanaka's like thinking it, because like in the English dub, when he's like with Topaz on the beach, you hear his thoughts like, "Oh, those meanies," and then chops the rock. But in the Japanese version, it's just, "Oh, Topaz," and then chops the rock.
Yeah, that's his way of just supporting people. Like, "Oh, you sad? Here, let me punch this rock. I'll make you feel better."
When I first saw that scene, I thought they were setting something up between Mr. Tanaka and Topaz, but no, it didn't go anywhere.
Well, yeah, well, they are building up towards it, but yeah, this specific scene is just kind of random. Oh well, it's cute, I guess. But yeah, sorry, Sala, go ahead.
Let's see. Oh yeah, so there's a lot of Knuckles taking falls in this episode.
Well, everyone has a lot of slapstick, especially in the cave. Like Rouge has the moment she slips, and Sonic.
Yeah,
that one.
I love that face expression.
Yeah, and Knuckles like drags Sonic underwater.
Yeah.
But like one moment I thought was weird was hold on, my dog is doing something.
No.
Ignore him.
Yeah, sure.
So
Your dog enjoyed the episodes too, I guess.
So Rouge like flies up and finds a vine, and she like drops it down, and it lands on Knuckles and just completely decks him.
Yeah, that must be a heavy vine.
That must have been very heavy vines.
To be fair, I never had a vine on my head, so I don't know how heavy they are. But...
All right, guys, I gotta be right back.
All right, fair enough. But yeah, there's a funny scene where there's this little vine hits him on the head and just smacks him to the ground. Man, Eggman shouldn't make his robots out of metal. He should make his robots out of that vine stuff.
Yeah.
I just remembered. I just remember this bit where Deco and Boko were like fusing together, and they ended up looking like this really cool robot. But no, it didn't happen because they just like turned to bits.
I have to say that's still part of the parodies they're doing. This whole episode's kind of random.
Yeah, kind of funny with how they explain like the whole like transformation not working. Because I kind of felt like the Japanese dub would do like some fourth wall breaking, but no, it's played straight in both versions. It's just worded differently. Like in the English dub, it's like, "Oh, sorry, we activated dream mode by accident," and then the English dub, they're like, "Oh, sorry, we lied."
Very random. Yeah, I have to assume this whole episode is a parody of something, so I have to watch the source material for this to make sense. Yeah, that was kind of a cute moment, I guess. Yeah. I mean, it does happen a lot in Japanese stuff. Like, I remember Final Fantasy IX having, like, two comedic characters also suddenly combined into a monster with no build-up, which was kind of dramatic. So I guess just Japanese love that stuff, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Yeah, like, speaking of Deco and Boko, the whole bit with them, like, "Oh, thank you, Chris, you saved our lives," this doesn't really make sense, because, I mean... Okay, the whole rock throwing thing, but then when they're being chased after by Mothra and then fall through that hole, you can clearly see that Deco and Boko are the ones that grab Chris and not the other way around. So it always kind of confused me, the whole like, "Oh, Chris, you saved our lives." Like, he didn't do anything. All he did was just pelted a rock at him, which just made things even worse.
I find that so funny, especially how it's edited. Like, one moment you see Chris heroically throwing that rock, what? And the next moment he's already running scared away. There's not even like a... why or something, or what Tails or Roots are doing in the meantime. Just instantly, here's Chris being a badass, and in the very next shot, he's running away. It made me laugh so hard. It was awesome.
That didn't work.
I like how after he throws the rock, he just immediately joins Deco and Boko. Like Deco and Boko are running a different way, and Mothra like stops to look at him, and instead of running like back, Chris just joins the robot.
I want to join the running competition too. Whee!
Who knows what's going on in that kid's head?
I also loved a little joke because Deco and Boko are out by themselves because they were looking for food, because Eggman told them to, and they said like, "What if we get lost?" And Eggman says, "I'm not that lucky."
Eggman is lovely in how petty he is in this episode. I love it. I love Eggman being petty. Like, he's constantly like trolling everyone and just kicking Bokun and Deco. It's awesome.
Oh, another weird detail about this episode. I don't remember if Luke brought this up in the synopsis, but like, so Sonic, Knuckles, and Rouge go through like this cave where they have to like dig through stone, go underwater, climb a vine, all this stuff, and they leave the cave just as Chris and Tails show up anyway.
Oh, that make me laugh so hard. Yeah, they go through this whole adventure in the cave, everything goes wrong, all this in the other and then Tails is just there with no explanation. He's just boom.
Yeah, they just took the scenic route.
That happened in one of the Monkey Island games where, like, I think it was in the second one where Guybrush was looking for the treasure of Big Whoop, and when he finds the X, he sees like Homer and Toothrot turning up and says, "Oh, this X, you should have taken the shortcut."
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. But here it's not even played for laughs. They don't call attention to it at all. Like, you're not supposed to think about it. Just like, oh, there they are. Like, okay, cool.
Yeah. Oh, hi, Tails.
Was that a room reference?
What kept ya?
Comedy. What was I doing?
No, I was just impersonating Tails saying, "Hey, Sonic, what kept ya?"
Exactly, yeah.
Speaking of the tornado.
Speaking of the game, there was another thing I found funny. Like, first Sonic is digging through it, but then there's like almost a collapse, so they tell him to stop. But then later Knuckles also digs anyway.
Yeah.
Even more aggressively than Sonic did, and then it doesn't cave in.
Apparently being more aggressive is the solution.
There you go.
Yeah, I also like the bit where like Sonic tries to spin dash through the rocks, which he was told to stop, because it was like a bit of a throwback to like the Sonic games where you could spin dash through the rocks and the walls.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Knuckles does it better. Oh well. What else?
Nobody does it better than Knuckles.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm kind of surprised this episode is like, yeah, I never thought I'd see a Sonic official media where it's basically just Sonic going up against a bunch of Godzilla monsters, because there's first Mothra, then the other one.
Yeah, Mogra.
Is that rock?
Mothra.
Is that rock dragon we see based on the actual Godzilla, or is it just a random? Because it looks so realistic and weird.
It could be.
I think it's supposed to be Godzilla. It's got a very similar stance.
Yeah.
Because it's so random. Like, they keep talking about there's a dragon in the valley, and then you see the statue of the Godzilla creature, but then it just breaks apart and never goes anywhere, and is just replaced by a robot. Which kind of... And it's so weird, because, again, you expect a robot to be an Eggman robot, but no, that's actually the dragon that was destroying the civilization or something. I guess that civilization had its own Eggman or something.
Oh, I just remembered, like, when the scientist was talking about how he's trying to find the ancient civilization, and it got him fired, because it makes you think, like, oh, this scientist is trying to find an ancient civilization? You're fired! How dare you try to make a discovery?
They thought I was mad.
Who's laughing now? Yeah.
And then he became owner of a museum. Much smarter.
I got this gem that came out of a bat's ass!
Man, I love the little wheels that Eggman has in his Eggmobile.
Yeah, the treadmills, yeah.
Oh, yeah, that was cool.
Oh yeah.
That's really
Yeah,
designed well.
caterpillar
Usually I
wheels.
don't really like the design Sonic X does, like how they make the tornado really boring and all that, but it's one of the few design styles I do love. Then again, I always kind of love the Eggmobile with wheels. Like a Sonic 2, he also turns to a car. Like, I wish they did that more often. That's pretty awesome. Oh well.
Boom, boom.
Side tangent. Yeah, what else about the episode? A lot of fun face
So
yeah?
I like Deco and Boko switching sides, for as brief and pointless as that was. I always like a villain turned hero. That's always a cool concept to me.
I give Sonic X credit. At least them turning on Eggman lasts longer than it did in Sonic Lost World with Orbot and Cubot. Because that was just one scene.
Oh, yeah.
It didn't go anywhere. At least here it does last a bit.
I thought you meant tail switching sides in that game.
That
Oh yeah,
Less
that too. That was fucking waste there. The whole deal with Tails getting roboticized. Yeah, I don't like it.
Tails of Borg was awesome.
Yeah,
sadly, he didn't get to do anything. But yeah, that's a side tangent, so never mind. But yeah.
yeah. But one thing with Deco and Boko turning sides, it's kind of interesting. Like near the ending of, it's mostly in the Japanese version where they try to play like more dramatic, where there's these additional scenes where you see like supposedly like the ghost versions of Deco and Boko, like, goodbye Chris, we're going to heaven now, and then it cuts to like flashbacks of like previous episodes that they've done. So it's kind of funny. Start off as villains, then became like heroes during the Sonic Adventure 2 adaptation, and then you hear Chris like, oh, Deco, Boko, and then they turn, and then the robots come out like, we're not dead yet.
I didn't really expect them being beaten around to be a death scene, because it's so slapstick and happens quickly, and it wasn't even played as a sacrifice. So when the scene came at the end where it's like, oh, Boko, they sacrificed himself for me, it felt kind of weird, because that's not how the scene was played at all in the episode, but oh well.
And it was so weird, like, why does Chris care so much about Deco and Boko?
Yeah.
Because he's such a nice guy, I guess.
I suppose we're supposed to assume that they died because, like, they broke apart shortly before the cave filled up with lava.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but those slapsticky characters don't really think about that. But yeah, fair enough. Another interesting. Sorry, Ewan. Yeah.
Sorry, it's just like the one thing that kind of thought was a bit annoying was like when Tails tells everyone like, "Oh yeah, get on the plane." I was expecting there to be sort of like a dramatic moment where they like escape, fly through out of the volcano, all that sort of such. But no, instead it just takes place like a few minutes after they return to the boat. It's like, oh, that's
it's just cheap cutaway thing. Yeah.
That was funny too. Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, I mean, should have had like a Batman sort of spinning thing, like
to the X tornado.
To be fair, there's so much already.
Yeah, like
in
the
this
old
episode.
80s cartoons where you transition, like in the Transformers, with do 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 do.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. But yeah, that was funny. It made me laugh too because it's so sudden. But yeah, it kind of makes sense. The episode is already so long, I guess. Another detail I found interesting is when we started with Sonic X, I kind of accused the series, because that's how I remembered it, that every single episode is just Chris and friends screwing around and then being trapped by a robot, and then Sonic showing up in the last 5 seconds and getting the power ring and instantly destroying the robot. They didn't really play that off very much anymore, so that was kind of a fun surprise. But then in this episode, the power ring finally returned, which took a very long time. I don't remember it being used very often lately. And it actually didn't work this time. Sonic immediately gets his ass beaten, so that was kind of a surprise to me. Like, oh. Because usually that's like the Deus Ex Machina thing. Like, oh, Sonic gets the power ring, instant robot destruction. But no Cell this time. And this is pretty much the last time this is going to happen in at least Season 2, so... kind of fun way to end the whole series on. It's like, nope, this time your super move doesn't work. I found it interesting. Yeah, what else? Let me go through all the shots I made. Yeah, go ahead.
The only other thing I found pretty noteworthy about this episode is just the banter between Rouge and Knuckles. It's pretty great, at least in the English dub. But I didn't watch the Japanese dub. I will do that for Season 3, but...
it's roughly the same in the Japanese dub, just worded differently here and there.
Yeah, so like the banter between them is pretty great. Whether they're like being antagonistic towards each other or supportive of each other, either way, it's fantastic.
Yeah, Knuckles is really supportive of Rouge. That's great. I didn't expect so much character development. But yeah, Japanese and English is pretty close, which also shocked me. Because 4Kids tends to really cut out romance a lot. But no, not with Knuckles and Rouge. In fact, sometimes I actually find 4Kids more interesting than the Japanese. Because in the Japanese they're a lot more stiff. Well, 4Kids actually went further sometimes, so that kind of surprised me.
Well, of course, like if they do the whole romance thing, they obviously have to tone down the more more innuendo stuff that the Japanese did like to do.
Yeah, that's true. They didn't do that, but then this episode didn't have much innuendo anyway. I think.
Yeah, not much in both versions for this episode.
Nope, it was more straightforward. But yeah, the Knuckles and Rouge were awesome in this episode, so that's great.
Yeah, it's nice seeing them be friendly with each other.
Yeah, I miss them having a relation like that.
Yeah.
A long time since it happened in the games.
10 years.
When was the last time Rouge actually talked to Knuckles? Did they ever talk in Forces?
No.
No, I don't think
racing,
so.
Probably. But...
Probably over the comlinks or something.
I don't think they even talked in generations, like, between each other.
Nope.
Definitely didn't.
So yeah, it really has been 10 flipping years since they actually talked to each other.
Here's hoping she'll turn up in the spin-off Knuckles series.
Yeah,
yeah.
it's cool if Rouge shows up in the
Oh
movie.
my god. Yeah.
I almost forgot about that, yeah.
There's a lot of people wanting to see Rouge in the third movie. And, you know, I hope so too, because that would just make it even more a Sonic Adventure 2 remake. But, yeah. I am kind of concerned about what they would do to Rouge's design.
Probably the sex appeal is going to be lesser in the movie, probably. Which is a shame because that's one of the most fun parts of her. But
yeah, they're gonna have a fun time in designing her great big bouncing ears.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah, that was something that was always weird in Sonic Adventure 2. Why were her ears so jiggly?
Yeah, like what the hell was that all about? Like, why do they jiggle around so much, especially with their like ending pose?
Yeah, I remember playing it just Tri-Rotator a lot. I bet we all did that.
Yeah, absolutely.
My God, look at her ears! They wobble.
I'm sure there's a fetish out there about ears. I haven't seen it yet,
God.
But, I'm sure it exists somewhere. Oh well, guess we're done with this episode.
Yeah.
So it's time
we
for
move on to the next
finale arc, the leaving. You wanted to do this one, Sala? What did you say?
Sure, yeah. So this episode kind of starts with a whole bunch of people entering a freedom movement, which because they're all inspired by Sonic, but like the freedom movement is incredibly vague. It's just people saying freedom and wearing shirts that say freedom.
They both want to be very lazy and not do any work, and yet at the same time they're breaking records, which is very impressive for lazy people.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, the whole bit of kind of like, oh, freedom. Like, oh, freedom fighters?
that's freedom. Well, it gets weirder later, but that's for the next episode, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So anyways, yeah, so some government scientists show up at Chris's house, and they start blabbing on this weird, dumb pseudoscience thing. They're like, oh, you see, Sonic's world and our world used to be the same, but then they like split into parallel universes, and because Sonic's here, the universes are merging again, and somehow that's going to stop time. And
scientists just know that they can just sense it in the air. It's like, yep.
Oh yeah, and they're even like very defensive over this idea, because when Chuck calls it a theory, they're like, it's not a theory, and which is incredibly anti-science.
But the best part is the only evidence they have is the freedom movement, because somehow the world's merging leads to people being like inspired by Sonic. Like, how does that make any sense? What does that have to do with time stopping? And does that mean that everyone in Sonic's world is obsessed with him? It's so random.
Yeah, it doesn't really clarify on how that went. But I was surprised the whole, like, oh, long ago, this world and Sonic's world used to be the same thing. And I was just kind of in the scene, just like all, Archie did it. Because, Archie Sonic did the whole thing with, oh, yeah, animals and humans, yeah, they live on the same planet, yada, yada.
Yeah, but it's different, because in Archie, the Anthros live after the humans have died out, or at least initially.
I see it more like a Tales of Symphonia thing, where like, oh, it's two worlds that have somehow split into two, and one is like affecting the other.
Yep, pretty much.
I guess that explains that whole bullshit deal that Izuka said, like, oh, there's two different worlds of the Sonic universe, and that whole retcon thing.
Yeah, but is evidence that you get inspired by an alien being that you want to also become greater the evidence that your world's gonna merge? I mean, people are inspired by Jesus Christ or Superman. Like, does that mean there's a Jesus Christ alternative universe in the Superman world that's gonna merge with us? It's really random, this stuff. But oh well, it's funny.
And like, it's really weird how they describe time stopping.
Yeah.
Because it's not like time just freezes. It's more of the same day happens over and over again, like Groundhog's Day, but for everyone.
And everyone immediately gets that meaning too. That's the weirdest thing, because they don't even explain it like that, but everyone immediately grabs it like that. It's like, oh, but just physical death doesn't exist. Like, oh, I'm just going to be beautiful all the time. Because again, I was indeed expecting them to be frozen in time and not able to move, yet everyone just talks like, yeah, Groundhog's Day, indeed. Like, it's just eternally 2 o'clock in the afternoon for the rest of your existence.
Yeah, the whole thing just seems like a really weird Doctor Who plot.
Pretty much, yeah.
No, wibbly wobbly, timey-wimey stuff, that sort of thing.
Oh yeah, they did. I think they did do that in the classic Doctor Who ones, where they were stuck in this time loop with the Fourth Doctor and K9 for a bit. Yeah.
I mean, the plot itself is perfectly fine. Just the way how they explain it is really stupid. But then again, the best and stupidest stuff is still left to come, because man, this is getting stupid. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. Sela, you want to continue?
Yeah. So, Chris hears that the way to solve this is to send all of the people from the other world back to their world to prevent the merger from happening, and Chris is pissed because
scene is so scary. It feels like it's a horror movie or something.
Because everything's about him.
Yeah.
And
his
so
dead-eyed look
he
and
like
a slow walk. Man, that was scary.
yeah. Yeah.
True
This episode is called like the beginning of the end. That's a great way to describe Chris's villain in this episode.
It feels like he's gonna grab a knife and kill everyone in that scene. It's like, oh shit, it's really gonna end.
Anyway, we had Deco and Boko turning good, and now we got Chris turning evil.
Technically, he is becoming the villain of the last episode, but yeah.
He is, yeah.
Yeah.
By all, he is the antagonist of these episodes for sure. And he like is so positive that like people are being tricked that he like willingly goes to Eggman. He like forces Deco and Boko to bring him to Eggman, and Eggman is like, "Oh, that this idea that you're suggesting is actually brilliant. If I would have thought of it myself." But he like confirms, like, you know, if we gotta send Sonic back, I gotta go back too, which doesn't make sense because Eggman has relatives in this universe.
Yes. Which
Yeah.
is never
So
clarified.
where is Eggman originally from?
That's a very
My
good
idea is that
question.
he lived on the other world for so long, he's like part of that world.
That is a good explanation, but Sonic X never explains that. I don't want to.
I don't know,
But if
maybe
that's the
Robotnik, like maybe Robotnik's mom like gave birth to Robotnik when they were crossing dimensions.
Or maybe his mum's from the other world.
And like,
Yeah, see, that shows how problematic this plot is. It's just,
And, like,
it's like gobbledygook at this point. It's like, what makes sense anymore?
if Eggman was born in Chris's world, but like spent so much time in Sonic's world that he just like became part of it, why isn't the opposite true? Why can't Sonic and everyone just become fine in this? It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I mean,
you
at
only
least
watched
it
the
makes-
American version, did you? Because it's even worse in the Japanese version this season.
Oh, God.
Oh, yeah.
I love the Japanese version. It's so stupid. But yeah, keep
Go
going.
ahead.
So much stupid pseudoscience in this episode. Ugh.
But the Japanese version adds some moral that doesn't make sense. Oh, that's so beautiful.
Yeah.
I'll get to
yeah,
that
the
later.
whole bit where, yeah, that whole bit where Robotnik's like, "Oh, you're always pinning the blame on everyone when something bad happens."
We'll get to that later. Let's continue the episode first.
Yeah.
All right, right.
So, Eggman himself is like working on something. He's like he's like writing a blueprint for something, and he just like gives Chris the reality check he needs. That like, yeah, this is not something I'm doing to get Sonic away from this planet so I can conquer it because I have to go too. And like he just sends Chris on his way, and he actually seems genuinely sad for Chris as Chris leaves.
Eggman and Chris really have a father-son scene here. Yeah, it's kind of
Yeah.
ironic that Eggman is the biggest father figure Chris has in this show.
It's really weird because I'm not even sure if Eggman knows Chris's name.
Yeah, probably not.
No.
I'm pretty sure he only refers to him as boy.
Boy and kid, yeah, good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like in the Japanese version, they always refer to Bo-kun as just messenger robot and not his actual name.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
So yeah, Chris goes home and pretends everything's fine, but he's secretly planning on betraying everyone.
Yep.
Also, for no reason whatsoever, Deco and Boko stay with Eggman.
Yeah, that never explains like why. It really does show that Chris really is the real villain if he puts like Deco and Boko back in the villain spot.
Yeah, they basically
Yeah.
have to sacrifice themselves and their own freedom just to help Chris out. Yeah.
Like the whole point was like, oh, we'll take you to Eggman, but like he's gonna be upset with us. And Eggman like sees them, and he's like, oh, you're begging for your jobs back. He even brought me a gift. Like that's not what was happening, but they went with it.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because in the Japanese version, it kind of feels like Robotnik was actually happy to see them come back, but then tries to cover it up.
Yeah.
because he's terrible in cooking. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty much the episode. Yeah. Okay. Shall we go into the moral? Melting Man, you wanted to talk about that? The Japanese moral.
Oh yeah, the whole bit with Chris and Robotnik having that whole conversation. Yeah, I kind of forgot how it plays out in the English version, but I know in the Japanese dub they throw in this whole big thing like, "Oh, Chris, you're always pinning the blame on everyone when like something bad happens." And yada
You need
yada.
to take
It's
responsibility yourself. It's your fault that the whole universe is exploding, and you need to do something about it. Apparently, like, that makes
Yeah.
no fucking sense.
Yeah,
I
because
mean-
like, when the hell did that happen? I don't think that might have happened once or twice, but no, it doesn't really. It's not a recurring thing for Chris to like pin the blame on everyone when something bad
They
happens.
really want that, make that the moral of the big story. Like it's all about you have to don't rely on others and don't blame anything else. Do it yourself. But there's only one episode in this whole show that is vaguely connected to this, and that was the episode with the moon, where everyone blames Sonic for destroying these things without realizing Eggman was the bad guy. But yeah, it's so funny that Eggman is the one giving this lecture because he's genuinely angry at Chris for thinking he might be the bad guy. But stop blaming me, don't you understand? It's like, guy, last episode you're trying to explode all the volcanoes in the world, asshole. Why are you so offended that someone might think you're doing something evil? Is that so weird? You're always doing something evil. So that they give Eggman out of all people this moral is so funny. Yeah, sorry.
So let me get this straight. So Eggman tells Chris that he's to blame.
Well, not so much that literally, but that Chris shouldn't be blaming other people. He needs to take responsibility.
Oh, okay. Because, like, maybe that's just Eggman getting the gift of prophecy for the next episode.
That's a good point. In the next episode, it might be a little more better, but this point is...
Could I bring something up?
Sure.
Sure.
Yeah, basically, that Sonic was barely in this episode, and one part he was in, we see Sam Speed chasing down this speedy driver, and when he actually is about to arrest him, because he was thinking about Sonic all the time, and as he was arresting the speeder, Sonic turns up, and Sam Speed's like, hey, let's race! So they go and speed up, and they just left the guy there.
Yes. Yeah. What about me? Yeah.
Am I just supposed to crawl back? Like, yes. Yes, you are.
You should be happy you're not in jail, partner.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, that scene was weird, especially since they then replayed the whole sequence from the first episode. And then Chris feels someone fall in a swimming pool and he's all happy about it. Yes, someone is drowning in my swimming pool. Yay! And then it's only a cat. At least in the English version, he's happy about the cat. In the Japanese version, he doesn't care. He's like, damn, stupid Sonic. Stupid cat.
Yeah.
I'm surprised he doesn't kick the cat back in the water.
Yeah, either way, it's kind of an interesting throwback to, like, the whole bit where, like, you know, Chris rescues Sonic, and he's trying to cover up the whole thing to his dad. He's like, a cat just fell in the pool. Yeah, I say that he's happy, yada, yada. So it turns out, yep, there really was a cat that fell in the pool. Somehow.
In the middle of the pool, so that cat must have had an impressive jump. Maybe also jumped on the highway.
Yeah, jumping off the roof, believing it could fly. I believe I could fly.
Or maybe watching too much Superman. Yeah, able to leap tall buildings with a single bound.
But yeah, that was a random scene. I guess they wanted to give Sonic some screen time and give Sam a final raise or something, because he's such an important character, I guess.
There was like a few flashbacks because of, like, the similar circumstances going on, and some literal reused footage from the first episode. But, like, in the flashback, the lines were redubbed, so we got to hear just how much Jason Griffith has improved as Sonic in these 2 seasons.
Yeah, I think it's only in the English version. The Japanese version just recycles the same audio, I think.
Yeah, well, I was watching the dubbed version of that episode because the Japanese version wasn't available on the site I was watching. And I actually liked the scene where Mike Pollock as Eggman was giving Chris the reality check, and as he was leaving, I liked it when he says, like, so long, kid.
Yeah, that was a pretty good moment. Yeah, that scene is way better in the American version. It's way more logical. It's way more in character for Eggman. Like, the way he defeats Chris is actually pointing out the logic of the thing. Like, hey, if the time stops, I don't have any purpose either. Like, that was so much better than Japanese weird.
Exactly,
focus on the stupid moral.
And I do agree with Lou. The whole bit was like, oh, so long, kid. That does kind of work better in the English. It's in the Japanese version, Robotnik's just like, oh, Diko Boko, stop, don't follow him. Just leave him alone. And that's it.
I gave him his wonderful moral lesson. You feel responsible for everything bad that happens in the world. Don't rely on others. Next time my robots attack the city, it's your fault and you have to do something about it, kid. Very great. I have to assume it's some sort of cultural difference. Like, I assume in Japanese it makes more sense. But I'm so disappointed. I thought that Sonic and Stupid Worlds was really a modern thing. There's only like Sonic Boom and Sonic Forces did. But even Sonic X has his morals all upside down. Man, I guess it's just a Sonic thing. Sonic games just always need to have like stupid morals that don't make any sense.
Well, the only difference is that the Sonic X morals, when they flop, at least it's hilarious. Unlike Sonic Boom, where they flop and it just pisses me off. Like the whole deal with Knuckles making the villain of that guy with the robot. That freaking episode just pisses me off the most. If there's one thing that I don't like, is that one.
I agree, yes. Although that's maybe for another time if we're gonna go through all the Sonic Boom episodes in the future.
Yeah. Oh yeah, there's one thing I forgot to mention: the whole deal with Deku and Boko, like being happy with being with Chris one now, it's kind of interesting how both versions kind of do it differently. So, like, in the English dub, they're like, oh, it's so nice to be the good guys. Yeah, maybe we should fill that dish that we left behind, and then Tanaka falls into it. But in the Japanese version, it's very different, where instead they're like, oh, it must be nice to have a family. Hey, when Tanaka and Topaz marry, maybe we should ask them if they could adopt us. And then Tanaka faints from hearing them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I meant with they always remove all the romance stuff. But yeah, I guess referring to kids is bad, even though it's an adoption, not even a biological kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like that was a weird and unnecessary change that 4Kids made, but I think it's clever.
Yeah.
Because I was wondering about that. I'm like, they're like, we gotta fill in that ditch we made earlier, and Tanaka just falls in it. And I'm like, but why did they dig a ditch?
It seems like something that they would do.
It does, yeah. But now that I know what the original was, it's so much funnier now.
Yeah, because it just shows just how happy and naive they are. Because in the English dub, it kind of seems to imply that they still have some villainy in them.
Yeah. Oh well. But yeah, it's kind of funny how they make a pratfall, an anime pratfall into like an actual slapstick moment. Speaking of slapstick, there's also this weird thing about cooking that Eggman cooks tree trunks. Now later it cuts to Chris' parents also cooking, but I wasn't sure is that in the art style or because it looks like they also like cooking rocks and pieces of wood. It doesn't look like food at all. Like, am I seeing that?
Well,
correctly?
I think they're supposed to be like buns or something edible, but
Because it
well, I
almost
think
looks
it's
like
supposed to
wood.
be
It's
regular
like,
food stuff.
like is that a
Yeah, it's
running
just-
joke that everyone just cooks tree trunks in this episode or something?
No, that's just regular food, just burnt because Chris's parents are not the best at cooking.
Yeah.
Which you can
Yeah,
tell
that-
from Ella's face.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
knew
they're
that
just
was.
they're just overcharred shish kebabs.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
overcharged.
But yeah, the art style just makes it look like they're literally cooking rocks and pieces of wood.
Almost, yeah.
Oh,
I feel really bad for Ella in this episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chris's dad is just like piling the burnt shish kebabs onto her plate.
Yeah. No, that's why she used to cook.
Yeah. Oh yeah, there's yeah, I think it's in this episode. Like, there's actually this whole entire scene that's only in the Japanese version. Where like, oh, celebrating the freedom, yay! And then Chris just hanging out at a cafe, and Amy apparently works there now. And they're kind of talking like, oh, Chris is like.
You just reminded me of something. Like when I think when Chris was trying to find Bokun, he's like hanging out in this cafe thing with all these other things, and I was like, where'd they come from?
Well, actually, that's the next episode.
You sure?
Yeah,
Yeah,
the next
one.
one.
Oh,
This
right.
one is this one's about Amy somehow working at a cafe now, and like, oh, Sonic never stops by here. He's always running around, doesn't take things seriously. And then at the end, they're like, oh, we always wanted to be like Sonic. Yeah, all that freedom. And then it cuts to like the actual opening that plays in the English dub.
That's a good point. Yeah, I wanted to bring that up. Because in a Japanese version, Amy has a lot more of a personal life shown, which indeed the American version cuts away. Although even in the Japanese version, you barely get to see it. But that happens in the next episode. But we get to see her apartment one more time, which they also cut in the American version. But yeah, she has a job in this episode, but it gets no focus at all. It's so random. And it's such a shame because Amy is so wasted because every single time she gets any focus is always on her obsession with Sonic. But apparently she has a whole life going on, but we just don't get to see any of it, only tiny glimpses, and it's such a shame. Because that idea that like one of the aliens are now working as a maid in a cafe, like how do the people act? Is that cafe gonna be more popular? Does everyone wants to see the alien? Like that could have been like a fun episode in and on itself, but now it's just a 10-second sequence or something. It's so random because it feels like such a big thing.
Well, I think by now, they're used to just seeing random aliens working at casual jobs.
Yeah, but I mean, if the famous actor would work as a maid, we would still be interested, even though we see the actor all the time. Like, I'm sure some people would still be interested in aliens.
Yeah, I guess that's a good point because, like, more so than them being aliens, they're also celebrities.
Ah, yeah.
So, I think that would be even weirder, is seeing, like, some super famous person working a minimum wage job.
Absolutely, yeah. But yeah, just for Amy's character development, because there's a lot of stuff going on with her. So apparently she wants to have her own apartment for some reason. Apparently she wants to have her own job. So there seems to be going on a lot in her head. Like she wants to be more self-reliant. But the series never focus on that, or we never get to hear any of that. Like, where is that coming from? Because every single time we see her, it's just talking about Sonic, and it's such a shame because apparently Amy's going through a lot of development, but it happens completely off screen. It's such a frustrating thing. Oh well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I go, oh, another thing I found funny. Like, Chris had homework that he has to write an essay. What are your dreams in the future? And he can't think of anything. Like, of course not. Your parents are already famous actors. You live in a giant mansion. Your friends are the big alien. Guess there's nothing left for you to dream about anymore at this point.
I can imagine it was like, I want to impress Sonic with my skills.
I want to impress Sonic with my skills, so you will have butt sex with me.
Exactly.
Yeah, because I think it's shortened in the English dub, but in the Japanese version, he eventually comes up with ideas like, "Oh, what I want to do is just to be with Sonic, always be with Sonic." So,
the American version does that too, but they make it a little better. In the American version, he says, "Oh, I want to save the world with Sonic," so at least it turns into more something heroic. But in the Japanese version, it's just creepy. I want to be with Sonic forever and ever and
ever.
So
yeah, I remember, like he was trying to like, oh, I want to do this with Sonic Gun, and he just like throws it away and said, "Nah, that sounds too corny."
Good stuff. But yeah, I have to give 4Kids credit. For the most part, I actually think how they change things is better than the original.
Yeah.
Minus the censorship, then, I guess. And the music use. The music is still terrible.
The music. Yeah, that's interesting, because I think this is, like, well, specifically the Japanese episode, like, there's barely any music in this episode. It's just kept quiet with just the voices and sound effects, that's it. There's not much music. Unlike the English dub, which just drowns itself in all of its music.
That's a shame.
So, yeah, it's a shame, because I feel like this episode just works better. I mean, like, the tone of it, it's like, oh, this is going to be goodbye, we have to go home, blah, blah, blah. It just works better with, the more quieter moments here and there,
That's true. Like, even though I found the writing better in the American version, indeed the music, because in the Japanese version, the music can build towards a climax. Like, because it's just a very somber, bitter scene happening. Like, we're building up towards Chris's big outburst later on. And in the Japanese version, it can build up, but the American version, it can't build anything because, oh, now something heroic happens, now something bad happens, now something sad happens, now something happy happens. Like, the tone just flies all over the place all the time.
Yeah, especially when the Japanese version, the soundtrack of it has a lot more emotion, like the whole, like, moral talk of what Now Robotnik has. Like, yeah, it's stupid, but the music kind of just really sells it, it has that built up to it with the whole tone of it.
Oh, the American version has more emotion, too much emotion. That's the problem. The Japanese
it's way overblown and
stick to it. Well, the Americans just want to change it for every line, change the music and tone. That's
yeah, it's so stupid.
Pretty much. I also kind of like they still keep emphasis on the fact that the moon is half still made by Eggman. It's kind of fun that they still leave that detail in. Even though it doesn't really
nice
go
little
anywhere.
bit of continuity.
Yeah, it's the only rare bit of continuity in any Sonic media that keeps that. Because I know in Archie Sonic, like in both canons, they occasionally show the moon like still being broken apart. Unlike in the games where Suzuka comes up with that excuse like, "Oh, it's facing the good side now." Yeah.
Should have said it blew up the dark side of the moon. That would have made more sense.
Oh well.
But yeah, that is definitely something I appreciate about Sonic X, because I do also find that annoying about the games.
Yeah.
Although I think it might create a plot hole later on, because I think in the next episode it's implied everything that they created is going to teleport to the other dimension again. So I guess that means the half the moon is also going to be teleported to Sonic's world, which means the humans are left with a half a moon again.
Or just takes the entire moon with them. There, no moon for you guys.
All those scenes are ruined.
Sonic's world got the moon in the divorce.
That's one way of looking at it, yeah. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. That's the next episode. Melting Man, you wanted to do the synopsis of episode 50?
Yeah, I'll be doing the episode for this one. Alright. Okay. Okay, I think I'm good now. Alright. So anyway, last time, as you remember, we left with our heroes finding out that the worlds are going to be colliding, thus causing time to freeze or collide or something, whatever. So Chuck and Tails are busy constructing some kind of portal to teleport Sonic and his friends back to their home worlds. Meanwhile, an evil commander is fed up with all this stuff and decides, I'm going to nuke everyone! Kill Eggman, kill Sonic, kill all of his friends. And so an all-out attack begins with Gun going up against Eggman. How he found it? Well, who knows? Well, most likely Boku got a bit tipsy with the ladies and told them about the secret hideout. Anyway, Sonic comes to the rescue and helps them out, and thus Robotnik also helps out by combining all of his machines into one ugly thing, and then delivers a final gift to Sonic to complete the portal device. So the big day arrives. They get to the portal. It's activated, but it turns out there's not enough power because there's not enough Chaos Emeralds. But it turns out Sonic just so happened to have a hiss. It just so happens that Sonic just so happened to find a Chaos Emerald, as you remember last time, as he found one just lying in the middle of nowhere. So they activate the portal, which sucks away the animal critters, and Robotnik's like, screw you guys, I'm going home. But even so, that's not enough. Even then, we get some help from the space colony ARG, supposedly by the help of Shadow and Maria. So the portal is open, everyone says goodbyes, sad cries, everything is sad, everyone goes home, but then the portal shuts down, thanks to Chris Thorndike. Will Sonic ever make it back to his home world? Has Chris doomed all of humanity? Don't miss the exciting conclusion, Friends to the End, or Chris's Long Journey.
Or Chris's Fall to the Dark Side.
Yeah. Boom, 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 boom,
Yeah.
boom, boom, boom.
But a Darth Vader suit on him. He's ready.
So yeah, I just felt like doing a full-blown Rocky and Bullwinkle bit with the narration.
All right, definitely
Did pretty good.
Small round of
Thanks.
applause.
So I don't have much specifically to talk about this episode, but one thing I did find really weird is the gun commander, in the English dub at least, because I don't know how they would do this in the Japanese dub, but in the English dub, the gun commander actually has his lips synced to his dialogue.
Oh, I didn't pay
Which,
attention to that.
never happens in anime.
Okay.
It's,
cool.
it's
Commander.
actually kind of disturbing once you notice it, just how well a lot of his mouth is lip synced.
I guess they were very intimidated by his sharp teeth, and they're like, "Oh shit, we gotta get this guy's voice synced right, or else he's gonna drain our blood. He's a vampire."
I just love how batshit insane the Gun Commander is, because he kind of predates the Gun Commander in Shadow the Hedgehog.
Yeah, this is pretty much
Yeah.
the Commander Towers. Yeah, the Sonic X version. Even though it
Hell
doesn't
yeah.
look like him, but and it's
Yeah,
still
here
too-
he's called. Yeah, I think in this one he's called Commander Card Passer, which is like a different character, but yeah, very over the top Commander guy.
I love him. But it's about time he showed up, because Sonic Adventure 2's adaptation already implied there's like an evil side branch of Gun. And they kind of went into it, but didn't give specifics, because it was just random guys. So I'm kind of happy. I did not expect this to happen, but we actually do get like a proper finale to that. Like, okay, here's actually the bad guy, the bad side of Gun, which I did not expect. I really appreciate it, because that was kind of left a little bit of an empty spot. It's like, okay, the president is such a nice guy, and most of the Gun commanders we see, like Topaz and all, are all friendly too. So the whole there's an evil side of Gun didn't make much sense. But now we finally get to see where they come from. So that was a fun surprise. I love it. This guy's is
So
great.
there was also the scene where the Gun goes to the Oval Office and the president demands to know what's going on, and the Gun states we've secured the Oval Office, implying that Gun has performed a coup.
It's so funny in the American version, because in the Japanese version you see them actually enter the office with guns at the president. Then they say, "Oh, we took over." But in the American version, they took it out. It looks like president is already talking to them. It's like, "Hey, what's going on, you guys?" And then we're in control of your office now. There's no transition to it at all. It's so funny there. They just suddenly randomly declare, "Oh yeah, the White House is ours now." Like, what?
Yeah, they just
It's
cut
so
out the
funny.
whole scene with them with the guns. Yeah.
Because
it's
you
like
don't
in
even
the-
see them enter the office, so it's implying that the president was already talking to them. Sorry, Luke, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just saying how in the second Sonic movie, where the government's all okay with Sonic, but then the second movie he's like, the commander's like, no, Sonic's the public enemy #1. Must arrest him.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. Well, I guess the movie's like a different thing to go into now. But yeah, I mean, I absolutely love this stuff. I always love Gunn. Yeah, what to say about it? Yeah, I love the thing that he doesn't even think is planned through. Like, okay, what if you succeed and you do kill Sonic and Eggman? Like, they're still in this world, and there's still the time crash is still gonna happen. Like, the point is you need to get them to their world. So whether they're alive or dead is completely irrelevant. But he never thinks about that. Like, that's such a typical Sonic thing. Like,
in fact, if you blow them up, it'll be harder to send them back because now you gotta collect all the pieces.
Exactly.
Just put it on a box and put it through.
It's such a perfect Sonic thing to do, like Sonic mid-20s. Like, there's a very easy solution, but they just fight each other for no reason. Like, oh, if we just kill each other, that will solve the problem. Even though whether they are alive or dead is completely irrelevant to the problem. I love it. No, that was a fun surprise.
I just saw someone bring it up in the comments, like, "Oh, the Commander Card Pass guy, yeah, he shows up in the Sonic X comics for some other organizations." Like, yeah, I vaguely remember that, but I'm not too familiar with the Sonic X comics.
Oh, that's cool that he gets more development there.
I do find it interesting. I'm just finding it interesting, like that Tails' idea to supercharge up the Stargate is to use the Ark with the powers of like Shadow and Maria's ghosts to reassemble the cannon to blast at the Stargate, powering it up, because the thing that's powerful enough to destroy a moon. So like if Tails like overdoes it a bit, the Earth might get destroyed.
That bit was so random because I didn't even catch that was Tails' deliberate plan. It just happens. He's just playing with a console, and somehow that results in a Space Colony Arc repairing itself. Like, it was so random. Like, I always felt like that just happened, and then they just praised Tails, even though he had nothing to do with it. It's like, oh,
I think in the English dub, it's kind of implied that Tails was channeling the Space Colony Arc to like activate the portal and whatnot. But yeah, in the Japanese version, we get that brief scene of Shadow and Maria on screen. So it's like, oh, it's implied that they're the ones that activated Space Colony Arc to help them out. But of course, they removed that in the English dub because, of course, 4 kids would do that.
Yeah. That's why I was confused when you like said like the power of Shadow and Maria, because like that didn't show up in the English dub. They're just like Tails is like, I've got an idea, and suddenly boom, he's like, there, a little help from the Space Colony Arc.
Yeah, my description. I mentioned like
I also need that to bring up the elephant in the room, that we see all the Sonic characters going back, but we have not seen Big go back, and we haven't even heard from the Chaotix. They only turned up for 1 episode and stealing a DVD player.
That is so baffling to me. Yes.
Yeah.
Man, I thought they were actually supporting characters, but they just don't show up after an intro episode anymore. They don't even leave home.
It just kind of further proves that whole theory that the Chaotix were thrown into Sonic X just to advertise Sonic Heroes and nothing else.
Yeah.
That was so baffling to me. I was so shocked by that.
I also noticed that because like all of these characters, including like all the random animal friends, get sucked into the portal, but like we don't see Big or the Chaotix at all.
Is that gonna be a gag later? Like the final scene in the next episode? Like, oh, we're still here.
I'm not dead.
That would have been funny, but yeah, I assume they're not gonna.
I don't remember if Big ever shows up in season 3, but I know the Chaotix.
I don't know, like maybe a cameo here and there, but yeah, Big is completely absent in season 3 from what I remember.
That's interesting. Well, I guess we have to assume they were sucked in together with the animal friends, but yeah, they don't show them at all.
Yeah. Didn't really see them.
Okay, yeah, there's a lot to say about that portal. Okay, at first I wasn't even expecting it to be able to teleport things to them, because I was constantly thinking, how are you going to get Eggman in there? Because you haven't had any talk with him or something. But yeah, Eggman just randomly flies in by himself. And indeed, all those elements get teleported in. But then somehow Sonic and friends aren't immediately sucked in. So I'm really confused how this portal works. Just convenience for the plot, I guess.
Yeah, and like, how do they even know that this portal actually takes them to Sonic's world? Like, it could have taken them like anywhere,
Like
banish
hell.
them to the Shadow Realm.
That's a good point, because in the American version, you even see Tails and Chuck say at one point, "Oh, we have to test it out first before we bring it." It's like, how are you gonna test this? Because you don't have enough power yet.
Yeah.
I guess it's just a random sentence they said. They didn't think it through, but yeah. But yeah, everyone leaves. It's all very sad. Tails and Chuck had a very touchy moment.
Yeah, especially with Cream and Helen and the girls, which of course it's played a little longer in the Japanese version where they break down in tears. Well, everyone breaks down in tears. The English dub cuts it short.
This episode is very good shots. Like this is only in the Japanese version, so Sala might be confused. But like I said, we actually see Amy's apartment again. Amy saying goodbye, but on one end it doesn't make sense because again the whole plot of Amy wanting an own apartment never really got any focus. But still, the shot itself was pretty nice. Like I love it.
Yeah, yeah, I really like that scene in the opening with Amy saying goodbye to, well, not really, but yeah, we see her apartment's empty and we see all the stuff she had, which slowly disappears, and it's really great. Like there's no dialogue in that scene; it's just music, and like visually, it's really great.
And then you get the scenes where everyone's sleeping or having breakfast together. Like it's really awesome. I wish we saw more of that Sonic X, just the daily life stuff.
Yeah, it's a shame they cut it down in the English dub, because in the Japanese version we see like the others, like Tanaka in his own room and Ella at the kitchen and whatnot. But yeah,
they really give that sense of today we're gonna do something important. This morning where everyone gets in the car and it's like nasty weather, like it really. Yeah. It's really nice emotional stuff. I also like to see with Chris and Sonic at the swimming pool. Like as annoying as Chris and Sonic constantly are in this episode, like that was one sequence I kind of did like. I wish it was the stuff like that, just sharing a little moment together, watching the nice scenery, and not just staring creepily in each other's eyes all the time.
Yeah. Fireworks going on where you are.
Yeah, kids are blowing up fireworks.
Fireworks! Oh, I thought someone was banging on your door there. Yeah. FBI, open up!
I deserve it at this point, yeah. I don't know why they're already selling fireworks for New Year's, but they do.
Yeah, like what the hell? It's freaking October. Like, is there Halloween-themed fireworks or whatever over there?
It's for New Year's. I don't know why they're selling it now. That's stores for you, I guess.
But yeah, with the episode, there's definitely a lot of things that are only in the Japanese episode. Like, of course, the other scene that I brought up in the description was, so like in the English dub, when Gunka attacks Robotnik's hideout, there really is like no explanation on how they found out. But in the Japanese version, there's this extra scene where they just kind of assume that Bo-kun apparently went to some harem and got drunk with the ladies and revealed their location, and that somehow got to Gun.
I love how the ladies also look like Bo-kun, as if there's like a fake Eggman also making robots like that. Just so Bo-kun has someone to go to, I guess.
Yeah. Or maybe those robots were made by Gun just to, trick Bo-kun.
Oh, they did copy Eggman's robots. That would be funny if they even copied his comedy sidekick.
Yeah, the only sex robots.
What was that?
They copied all these sex robots.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Let's copy Eggman's sidekick robots, but turn them on to sex bots. Ooh.
Well, Gun is a tough job, so they need something to relieve themselves with. Know what I mean?
You know what's weird?
Yeah, what is weird? Except for everything.
Every time my voice changer stops working, we end up talking about sex robots.
You know why? It's because we don't want to hear the captain say that word. I'm just waiting for it. Like, yes! The captain's voice isn't here. We can finally talk about sex robots.
Oh my god.
Breathe, Melty, breathe.
I'm trying.
Could take a while.
Okay. Okay, I'm calm.
Okay.
Sure.
You pervert. So we know who the biggest pervert of our group is again.
Jeez, that's the hardest I've laughed with this whole live stream.
Clearly. Another thing I found interesting is that Amy got a book of recipes from Ella, except she's going to a different planet, so who knows, she can't even find the ingredients.
Yeah. Even so, that was still touching. Yeah.
It's still touching, yes. I guess you just have to find the replacement versions of it.
I've actually had that thought recently about like, there's so many like fictional cookbooks out there, like cookbooks from, as if written by fictional chefs like Sanji from One Piece, or
I got a Star Wars cookbook.
Yeah, I was about to say there's the Star Wars one too, and I'm like, but do they have the same ingredients we do? Or does the book say, oh, you need to get a Dangaba swamp rat?
I guess
there are recipes in there that makes your own like ingredients for said recipes.
Yeah.
So you've got to make the ingredients for the meal in question that you plan to make.
Yeah.
Extra work then.
You need to make the ingredients yourself.
What's worse is when you get the opposite. Like, we have a theme park here that's very fairy tale-ish. You have all these fantasy worlds, and then they have like a restaurant in that theme. It's like, oh, what kind of food would they have in this amazing fairy tale fantasy world? And it's just pancakes, or just generic things you get everywhere. It's like, okay. So I'm like, oh, you have the Star Wars cooking book, and then you just get fish and chips, or just cheeseburgers. Just normal like we have. Like, oh, that's pointless.
It does kind of raise the question, like, okay, if they're like, anthro characters living in an all anthro universe, then how the hell would that work with trying to make, hamburgers and chili dogs and stuff?
Well, I guess they have. Some animals are more important than others, I guess.
Yeah. And that's why pigs don't exist in the Sonic universe.
You think they have like a Kentucky Fried Flicky over there?
Yeah, like the blue one's Kentucky Fried, and then the green one's just the turkey fried. In time for Thanksgiving.
I hope that the green flicky nuggets don't jump away all the time. What's the red ones that kept jumping? Yeah, that's the red
Yeah, I
ones.
think it was the red ones.
They'll be the jumping beans. Let's see. Anything else? Yeah, they're still playing up the fact that the journalist doesn't know who Stewart is. That doesn't really go anywhere, I guess.
Oh, yeah, it doesn't go anywhere in both versions. But yeah, one thing I kind of find a bit odd is, like, in the scene where Robotnik finally, like, defeats the gun soldiers, like, all he does is just combines, like, half of the parts from the big battleship from Season 1 while fused together with a modified egg carrier.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, they make a joke that he'll run out of materials and just has to recycle, which is kind of clever.
Yeah.
Why not? It still works, so why not? And Sonic doesn't sorry.
I did like the unexpected payoff of Eggman giving Sonic like the one part Tails and Chuck couldn't figure out for the time machine. Because God, it's I love it when Eggman is like super competent. Because, like, in the last episode, we saw him working on something, and we know that he knows that, like, the time is stopping for some reason. And we also know that he knows that Chuck is working on a machine. So, like, we just see him working on something, we don't know what it is, and then the next episode, he, like, gives it to Sonic, and Sonic gives it to Tails, and Tails is like, oh, this is exactly what we were missing.
But the best part is that doesn't even mean that he knows how to make that portal, but he immediately anticipated which part Tails and Chuck were too stupid to figure out themselves. It's like, oh, I know exactly the part that Tails is too dumb to figure out. I'll make that one part.
Exactly. It's stuff like that makes me really appreciate just how smart Eggman is.
Eggman is great as
because, like,
he's
got that 300 IQ, but like, we don't see that too often.
Nope.
It's because the meta era had to ruin it. Yeah.
Oh, too true.
Yeah, but even besides seriousness, even comedy style, I love this Eggman more than the meta version because he's much more petty and slapsticky, and also more confident and more threatening. So it makes the slapstick also funnier. So this is literally a man who's an evil dictator, just screwing around, having fun. It's like he knows he's super powerful and can blow everyone up, and he's just enjoying it.
Yeah,
which is what I like more than when he's just a clown. But yeah, that's a different tangent. Let's not go into that too much. So I guess that's all about this episode.
Well, I have a few things to talk about.
Sure, go ahead.
So, well, first thing, so like when everybody's getting ready for the big day to go to the portal and everything, so it's kind of interesting that instead of the X tornado being dragged, it's actually the original tornado, and I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot that was a thing. Like, I kind of thought that was like destroyed in that one episode in space, but no, apparently it was just sitting in storage, I guess.
I thought they repurposed it into the other plane. Yeah, look.
I just had another thought that when they eventually go back to their own world and they go back to their original houses, would they find it all covered in dust, or would it be like at the end of The Hobbit, where like all their furniture is being sold off because they all thought they were dead?
Good question. Although I was thinking about that, but Tails, his house actually got teleported to Earth because that's the workshop.
Yeah, but think about the other ones that don't get teleported.
Yeah.
They don't show the Angel Island and all that going through the portal either, right?
No, we don't see Angel Island go through the portal.
Or Tails' workshop and Mystic Runes. So they should also be teleported somehow. They didn't think this through, did they?
Nah. Like last minute sort of things. Like, crap, we've got to finish this off. Next few episodes.
That would be such a funny final scene. Like you see Sonic finally enter the portal, and then he's Chuck in a panic, carrying the entire Mystic Runes on his back and throw it through the portal too.
Hey, you forgot this!
If I made a parody of that, that would be the last shot. And somehow carrying the entire continent on his back, like, let's get through the portal.
Or trying to grab the whole island into a suitcase.
Exactly.
Or like the island, or like the island does get carried away by the portal, but it just gets stuck. It's like, well, can't go home now.
Yeah, like kind of like with Roger's animation of which, like Eggman tries to get an egg carrier through the portal, but it's too big to get through. It's like, turn it slightly to the right. Come on, gotta get through.
You going? You good? You good? And stop.
Nope, you're stuck.
Another detail I found funny or interesting is at the end when Sonic was about to walk into the portal, he doesn't react to Chris at all until Chris himself talks. So if Chris never said anything, Sonic would have never said goodbye to him either. He would just walk right out.
Didn't give him a hug.
Yeah.
Oh, did he?
No, he didn't even give him a hug. He didn't.
No.
Chuck hugged him, but not Tails. Yeah.
And Chuck hugged Tails, yeah. But Sonic was just ready to walk straight out. It's only because Chris talked to him that he finally acknowledged him. Like, oh yeah, you're here too.
Yeah, Sonic was all like, "Stay around, kid."
Doing that salute at the end. But yeah, Chuck's just hugging him. He's like, "Oh, I'm gonna miss you, Tails. You're so fluffy and soft."
Really.
You're like the son I never had. But then Chris, like I said, the son I never had.
While his actual son is angry. Right?
Yeah. And then the whole bit. Yeah, and then the whole scene with Roo saying goodbye to Topaz. Yeah,
very nice. Everyone gets a nice payoff, send-off, except for Chris and Sonic. They have to ruin it a bit.
Yeah, but hey, at least Cream and the others they get. Yeah, it got me right in the feels with Cream and Helen saying their goodbyes there, especially in the Japanese version, which is a little longer.
Because we haven't really said it yet, but man, the scenes with Sonic and Chris are really hard to get through in this episode, right, Ewan?
Too true.
It's only going to get worse next
slog. Time. It was just like a slog just trying to get through it because of Chris being like, but I don't want Sonic to go! I love him so much! I want to have his babies! Etc.
Like I said, some shots are nice, like when they're staring at the swimming pool, and I'm not opposed to the idea. I mean, I get it, it is kind of sad, but man, they really overdoing it a little too bit.
Yeah.
And the American version tries to make it a little better by actually, like I said, he said, like, oh, I want to have adventures with Sonic, so at least there's more to it. But especially in the Japanese version, it's just, like, almost like, why isn't it just a romance? Like, you might as well just make them gay lovers at this point.
Yeah.
Now it's just creepy and weird because it doesn't really make up its mind, or it's too exaggerated, I guess. But there's really long shots of Chris just going, Sonic, just staring at each other. Like, I do like the music during the sad. Even the American version actually had nice music. They finally let something be sad. I guess because there's not too much stuff happening. Although, look at this shot, right? In the actual episode, it's kind of sad and nice looking. But if you just look at this could be right out of a horror movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just like
It's so easy.
ominous music playing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's another thing I noticed with the different versions. So, like, the last scene where, like, Chris finally saying goodbye to Sonic, and that's it. And so it's weird. In the English dub, they play it straight. Oh, we say goodbye, then it's silence, and then, he turns off the portal. But in the Japanese dub, there's, like, you can clearly hear Chris's thoughts, like, no, Sonic can't go. And, yeah.
And he just screamed, didn't he?
Yeah, at the end, he's, like, screaming, no!
Right,
And then shuts off the machine.
Yeah.
Which, of course, in the English dub, all of that was removed.
Yeah, he just turns it off like ping. Like,
no, sorry, my fingers.
You're not going anywhere, Sonic. You're staying with me forever.
And now I really want to re-edit these 3 episodes like a horror movie. Chris the Bad Guy. It plays so perfectly.
You want that deep of misery?
Yeah.
This plays so perfectly as a horror movie.
Look how Chris has the sledgehammer.
Not the sledgehammer.
You think you're fast, Sonic? Well, you can't run from me.
Either die or dance with me. Your choice.
Yeah, I again didn't know about the Japanese part of Chris actually like yelling and thinking like, no. I kind of like the English version because it was just so sudden. Like, Chris just slams the button down.
There's a lot of things that are only in the Japanese version. Like some better, some like the English dub did it better with the whole removing the whole new bit at the end.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to next season where I'm finally gonna bite the bullet and watch the Japanese version along with the dub.
Oh, I can tell you ahead of time, there is a lot of things that are only in the Japanese version for season 3.
Oh yeah.
Yes, I'm aware of that.
Yeah.
Which is ironic since that season was never aired in Japan even.
No, it took them years to actually air season 3. Well, properly get a physical release or something in season 3. But yeah, season 3 in Japan was not really common over there. It was just the 2 seasons. That's it.
So it's pretty much only the French who actually got the Japanese episode.
Yeah. But yeah, it's kind of weird, because I've heard the story, like, season 2 was originally meant to be the last thing, but the story that I've heard was that apparently the English branch was like, no, Sonic X is doing great, you should, do it more, continue it, and then the company's like, okay, fine, we'll do 1 more season, but that's it.
That's true, yeah. Now, I don't know if that's true, I shouldn't say that.
Yeah, I don't know if that's true or not, yeah. I know
they desperately need more Chris.
Yeah, everyone's favorite Sonic character, Chris Thorndike.
Yeah.
Well, at least
Despite the
Chaotix
amount
finally
of
get their
death
screen
threat
time.
towards the character.
Sorry, can you repeat that? I was talking through you. Sorry.
Despite the amount of death threats like Chris gets from fans, it's like, no, call a diner ditch somewhere, you bastard! I hate you!
Because he's the audience surrogate, we must relate ourselves through Chris.
Even though we
Even though the fact we're not millionaires.
Yeah, and the fact that we all agreed that Helen should have been the main human surrogate.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Well, let's be honest. Anyone that isn't Chris is already like 1 up.
Yeah, even Francis is 1 up.
Yeah. But like Helen is like 23 up.
Yeah, she's like top
Helen is
tier.
just so much better than every other human in Sonic X.
She's basically God tier.
Yeah, she's freaking God tier.
Hey, the Gun Commander is also up there, because I love Gun being crazy.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, but I don't think he'd make a good human companion for Sonic.
It would be a good companion for Knuckles.
Yeah. we just protect the Angel Island. All right, we'll send all of Gun to protect everything. And they just blow up everything. They just blow up the island.
Just Knuckles staying in his home, that would be perfect.
But yeah, if there ever was like a ranking tier list of Sonic X characters, I'm sure there is somewhere. It's, S tier, D tier, A tier, blah blah blah, and there's one God tier, and then of course Helen is the only God tier in that slot.
Fair enough. Yeah, so that's the only real sad goodbye, I suppose. Goodbye, Helen.
For now, yeah.
Oh, is she? She's not showing up in season 3, is she?
He does, actually.
Oh wow, I didn't expect that.
Yeah, we see. There's maybe 1 or 2 episodes we see the other characters, but not much for season 3.
All right. I thought it was only Chris, but yeah, that's for next. Not next time, but the next time, I guess, because we still have 2 episodes left to go for this season.
Yep, finish off season 2 next time. Yep.
Where Sonic has to defeat the final boss, Chris Thorndyke himself, the main antagonist.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a fan-made game out there based on Sonic X where Chris really is the final boss.
Yeah, it's called Punch Back the Game.
Yes, Punch Back the Game, which sadly has become time with Flash being defunct. But again, I've heard there are some alternatives to play it, like Flashpoint and whatnot, but I don't know. I haven't really tried it for myself.
It's not much of a
really
game.
should. Like, kind of
You could do like a Sonic Rubber Blast 2 level where you fight Chris.
I could do that.
that'd be
I can make him into an enemy or a boss, sure.
Yeah, like the whole level, like the couple of stages, just like trying to defeat Chris.
Trying to defeat Chris in Roboblast 2. Yeah. There's the real
And
Punch
he
Back
has a
the Game
final form where he
remastered.
turns into his wizard form.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, now
Sauron
that would be the
himself.
real Punch Back the Game remastered right there. Yeah.
Sonic the Punch Back and Sonic Movie Man is in one, yeah.
I'd pay money for that.
I bought that for $1.
Exactly. But enough in jokes about my silly cartoons. I guess it's time for Fleetway. Is everyone ready? Because the last time I checked, someone wanted to replenish the water and stuff.
Yeah, that was me. I was getting
Hello,
lots of kids.
And the Sala had something. But yeah, everyone's ready for Fleetway.
Yeah.
Kinda.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Well, I think
Kinda,
kinda's
Sala.
better than no.
By kinda, I mean I read issue 39, and I'm currently reading issue 40.
That's all right. I'm not
Yes.
the teacher. I'm not going to punish you for not doing your homework.
Yeah, I called dibs on issue 39 because this was the first Sonic the Comic issue that I've read.
Nice.
Yeah, because I remembered I went up to London with my mum for something, and on the way back, I remember like picking up this issue. I remember reading like this particular story, and like it didn't really invest me because it was like something out of like Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog, especially with the Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog style Robotnik. And also, I wasn't really a fan of Sonic at the time. I was like on Team Mario during the 90s console war.
But you
And
saw
also-
Indiana Jones fight Catwoman on the cover, and you thought, yes.
I don't know, like, I think because I knew, like, oh, Sonic is in it, but even though it had the, but yeah, I thought, like, oh, there's interesting other characters in here that see what's all that about. But, and also the other reason I didn't, like, continue reading this comic was because, like, it was quite pricey. It was, like, over £1, and I was mostly mostly reading the Beano, which was a lot more cheaper, and another comic called Buster, which involves this kid with a green cap. And apparently, I mean, I could talk. Apparently, Buster turns out to be the son of another British comic character called Andy Capp.
Oh, wow. Yeah, we can see the price here. It's £1.50 for every fortnight. So every fortnight you have to repay the price again? That's nice.
It was pretty, I mean, that sort of thing is quite pricey way back in, like, 94.
I bet.
I'm just checking quick.
It really annoys me because if I read the previous issue or the issue after this, which had much more impressive stories and more impressive artwork, I might have been a bit more invested in the comic, but I didn't eventually start collecting the comic briefly until, like, 99 or 2000 when I started playing Sonic games.
Right when Fleetway ended.
Yeah, but it's sort of like
most of us.
during the Sonic Adventure adaptation.
Yeah,
But then after that, they started like reprinting the older stories. But as it was, the comic was pretty pricey, and I didn't have like a lot of pocket money at the time. I eventually stopped collecting them.
Fair enough. So yeah, there's a lot of Luke lore. That's nice. So I started with the first ones. You started with 20 or something, and you started
21.
21, yeah. And Luke got here.
And you started with 39.
And Melting Man, what was your first Fleetway?
The very first issue when I found scans of it on Sonic Scan F when they used to have scans.
You cheated. I mean, out of a store.
well, we never got Fleetway Sonic here in America, so yeah. And you know how hard it is to find them these days. I mean, they never show up on like American websites like Amazon and eBay.
Yeah, I can't blame. I never found any Sonic comics either, except like I said, the first Sonic the Comics got a weird album. But yeah, we're distracting from Luke. Sorry, Luke.
Yes, so I'll probably like talk about the synopsis of this strip called Sonic No More.
Yes.
This was the issue where I first saw Grimer, and I was like, what's up with this really ugly-looking James Bond character? So you got this like desert that looks like something out of Adventure Sonic the Hedgehog, but not so like drug trippy, where Robotnik and Grimo are waiting out for Sonic, and like Sonic gets blasted by a cannon, which transfers Sonic's powers to Robotnik, turning him into like Super Robotnik, and Sonic reverting back to his old grey form. And this, like, I think this kind of blew my mind a bit. Like, oh wow, he didn't originally have blue. He was originally blue, and he was really like really speedy. He was like always like that. So like this made like Sonic Robotnik much more powerful and made him more speedy. But like instead of just straight up killing him, it's like, no, I'm gonna let him walk away in shame because I want him to be humiliated. And so he goes back to the base, and like they all don't recognize him, and said, no, it's actually me. But I have to go back to and apparently Porker Lewis is talking about Professor Neinstein, talking about energy transmitting stuff, about like how Robotnik got hold of the cannon. So Sonic decides to go back to Robotnik and that he has to do it alone. So as Super Robotnik is dragging him around, he tries to sick his badniks onto Sonic, but as they only detect Sonic as blue, they only attack Robotnik. So his idea is to transfer his powers back to Sonic, but this makes Sonic free all the badniks. But then Robotnik realizes, oh wait, give me my powers back. But no, the machine's broken now. So after Sonic destroys a cannon, he just makes Grimo and Robotnik walk home.
It's really disappointing they don't use Eggman as Sonic at all. He just punches Sonic at the beginning, and then it just runs around. And then this fight is just sending badniks after him. Like, you didn't need to turn into Sonic for that.
There is something I also want to talk about, is that when I remembered, like, I asked my dad to draw me a picture of Sonic rescuing Knuckles from jail whilst Robotnik is shaking his fist in anger, because I think my dad was using like images as a reference. So we got an image of Sonic and Knuckles in jail. When he drew Robotnik shaking his fist in anger, I was expecting to see his like face, but he used that actual image on page 8 so not only was he facing in the wrong direction, it looks like he's shaking his fist at nothing.
Damn that wall! I told the painter to paint it red.
Because I was like, why is he facing away, Dad?
It's very angry at the wall, son. But yeah, this is indeed very much an Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog style comic. If that was the first one I read, I would immediately expect it to be like...
it gives me the impression that all these issues are like that.
Yeah, you know, it's really weird, an outlier, yeah.
It's kind of weird with Robotnik stealing his powers. Now that I think about it, that whole image with like Robotnik in the blue suit and going all "Mwahaha," I think that was one of my earliest memories of actually seeing Fleetway Sonic from like a random search on Google Images. Like that was way before I actually got into the comics.
Oh, so this was your first one too? Oh my goodness.
First glimpse in a way, yeah.
Fair enough. Close enough.
Yeah.
That's so weird because it's such a weird episode, but it becomes your first
yeah, because look, because I was just saying, because I'm like looking at where like they are, and it just reminds me of a like a duller sort of landscape that you'd find in a Looney Tunes cartoon, like Roadrunner and Wile E. Coyote, just because of the rocks and such.
Oh yeah.
Maybe some Chaos Island, and we got a first preview of Sonic Frontiers. And
as you said, like I thought that Adventure of Sonic the Hedgehog was like some kind of rip-off of Looney Tunes, with Sonic being like Roadrunner and Robotnik being like a fatter Yosemite Sam.
Pretty much, yeah. You could say that.
Yeah. But I imagine this comic was obviously supposed to come before the Knuckles story, because apparently Sonic and his friends are like still have their secret underground base.
Oh yeah, good point.
But in the last story, it got destroyed.
Yep, that's a good point. Because we're reading them out of order. Oh well.
That and the fact, like, for some reason, Johnny Lightfoot seems to have like a very puffy sort of hairdo on top of his head for some reason.
He's Elvis Presley. Sounds like a Japanese gangster.
Yeah. And of course,
it's kind of weird.
And the mention of like Professor Neinstein, where like the editor basically says Neinstein was a famous Mobian physicist. Not that it makes much difference. We're never going to mention him again.
I guess he never did anything.
Yeah, so like, what was the point of that? I mean, Archie, like, I know Archie Sonic did those kind of name drops, but they didn't really have that kind of editor box. It's like, oh, here's a character, we're never gonna mention it again. Hoo-hoo. It's like, no, they just mention it and that's it. Sometimes they might get lucky and get a physical appearance later on, but yeah.
Yeah, the British are way more cheeky, but then again, you can kind of see it in the sense of humor. So we'll get some other comic that's very self-aware later or two.
Yeah, I always find it weird with how Porker's like eyes are designed in that one panel. It looks like he's like squinting, or someone just forgot to color his eyeballs.
I think that's what he's doing. He's squinting, like trying to remember.
It looks like he's about ready to sneeze there.
Yeah.
Also,
either that or just ready just to punch Sonic in the face for like getting back at him.
And blame man, I want to punch Sonic all the time in Fleetway. He's such an asshole.
Yeah.
Man, the page at the bottom, it kind of looks like Sonic has like 3 eye.
So, that's something that always like made me go like, wait, has he got 3 eyes? Even back when I first got the comic, it's like,
Does look kind of weird, yeah.
Yeah.
That's the problem. His nose is exactly the same.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Another thing is, I was expecting this sort of thing to happen in that one Sonic Boom episode where Robotnik and Sonic swapped bodies, and Robotnik in Sonic's body was like trying to get his back to control his badniks, but like as they only like recognize Sonic, they keep attacking him, so he has to swap them back.
Yeah, but it didn't happen in episodes.
No, exactly.
But it would have been funny, yeah, sure.
Well, at least, but hey, at least this comic is a lot better than the Meteor episode. Well, okay, the Meteor episode was okay. It's one of the few episodes I find it to be okay in Sonic Boom.
Yeah, Melting Man, one day we're going to talk about the Sonic Boom episodes.
No, I'm getting the fuck out of here when that happens. Wake me up when you guys cover Sonic Underground.
Well, first we have to finish Sonic X, and then Sonic Underground probably, and...
and maybe the Sonic X comics,
high on my list, yeah.
And then, of course, Sonic X
Well, we're desperate enough for more content, I guess. Or for Halloween, we're just going to do Sonic Boom.
Well, I think there actually is a Halloween-themed Sonic X comic in there, but I'll have to look into that.
Yeah, right. But yeah, are we done with this comic?
No.
I'm done.
Well, the story, I think so.
Then we go to Knuckles.
I'm looking through the other stories, like in the Knuckles story. Like I remembered, like seeing Knuckles' surprised face, and like I have been wondering if this is like my first introduction to Knuckles, because like seeing like what he does and all that.
Well, it's a pretty good one. He's pretty badass in this one. Just punching those robots and all that. So you got a good introduction to Knuckles at least, and this is a way better Fleetway representation.
Yeah,
it's not the main story.
Yeah,
since it's done by the main sort of artist. What's his name again? Richard Elson.
Oh no, that's the script.
Yeah, Richard Elson is the artist.
Yeah, he's the most recurring artist of Fleetway Sonic. Yeah.
And the best one, yeah. But yeah, no, look, go ahead. This is your Fleetway after all.
Yeah, and also, this was also my introduction to Decap Attack, which I don't think was a very good introduction, because most of the story was just the scientist mutilating and torturing a brain. I thought that was pretty disgusting.
Yeah, I guess that's one of the many reasons why Salamander is not a fan of the Decap Attack comics.
I mean, I've never read the comics. I just know that the game is awful. And very, very stupid.
Yeah, there was Decap Attack comics, and there was like a lot of them, because apparently that was the most popular for Fleetway.
Because it looks so British. Man, I don't know what it is, but that art style, the mix between horror and stupid comedy.
Yeah, because it's pretty much a comic that you probably would find in like the Dandy or the Beano.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, it's like the Trap Door, but on drugs.
Yes.
Well, not as plasticine and weird looking.
Well,
weird looking, but not as like plasticine kind. That sort of thing.
Yeah.
But every time I'm in England, I see like graffiti on walls that looks exactly like the art style of Decap Attack. Like that's just the quintessential British art style to me, anyway. But yeah, back to the Knuckles comic.
Yeah.
Look, want to do a synopsis?
Well, basically, it's about like Knuckles hijacking one of Robotnik's eggmobiles, and like he bails out, and he ends up in like basically Carnival Night Zone or Carnival Night City, as it is. So Knuckles decides to infiltrate, beating up some robots, and it turns out it was all run by the Marxio brothers, which is like their parody of the Mario brothers, offering the plan to give Knuckles an offer that he can't refuse.
Well, not just Mario, but also with the Marks.
I'll give him an offer he can't refuse. Yeah.
There you go, the Godfather. He is.
Yes.
And I thought that was the first one to make a Carnival Night Zone that was taking place in daytime, just to spite the name. Fleetway was ahead of me. You bastard.
Yeah.
But yeah, I kind of love the fact they actually does show what Knuckles thinks about Carnival Night Zone, because it's always such a weird zone. Like, Angel Island's supposed to be this separate, deserted island that has no civilizations, disconnect from the rest of the world, and then randomly just like a carnival. It's like, who lives here then? Because I thought this whole place was supposed to be deserted. But yeah, here in Fleetway, at least they kind of explain it. That now they say the floating island has become a tourist trap because everyone knows Knuckles.
I'm under the assumption that in Sonic 3 it was a place built by Robotnik.
Yeah, I guess that's the implication. Although that kind of calls into question why Knuckles still thinks he's a good guy. But yeah. But yeah, I like that Fleetway actually does show Knuckles' reaction to it. That's great.
Yeah.
Did Archie ever do this, Melting Man?
Do what?
Give an explanation why Carnival Night Zone is on Angel Island. Although I guess in Archie there's actually is an Echidna City, so I guess they didn't need to.
It's I'm trying to remember. Well, I know there was like a official map detailing all those zones, and I think they might have had Carnival Night listed there. But other than that, no, I don't remember much of Carnival Night being in Archie Sonic that much.
All right, fair enough. Yeah, it's a fun little story. I love Knuckles just immediately punching the robot out in one hit. And the robot even complimenting on it. Like,
oh yeah. And the fact
another idea is that maybe the Asian Echidnas built this giant theme park for some reason.
They didn't want to be bored. Love to see Pakamak and Tikal working on it or something.
Yeah, and going all the rides.
Yay! Oh, that was fun. Now let's take over the world. Goofy stuff. But yeah, I guess the Marxio brothers doing this makes more sense.
Yeah.
But it's less funny.
Yeah, those weird Mario Groucho Marx Marx, yeah. It's kind of weird. They picked like the Marx Brothers of all things to do their Mario parody for that.
Just for the pun, I guess.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
I really love how they keep using that weird smirk of Knuckles, because originally it only looked was like that in the official art, and it always looked kind of weird to me. But now Fleetway he always looks like that because it's such a weird face expression. Like, is that a smile or angry? Like it looks like he just has a sarcastic laugh about it.
Or like a fang. Or like a fang, kind of similar with how modern day Vector has.
Is that supposed to be a fang? Okay, because it looks like a very sarcastic smirk, which is so out of character.
I mean, it could be that, but I'm just saying it could also be like a representation of like a fang, much from like modern day Vector.
Yeah, I guess that makes
sense.
Especially
if you kind of look at it.
I do find it interesting that in Fleetway's Knuckles, like his white neck thing, in most interpretations, like part of his fur, but here is like a metal neck thingy.
That's also a good point. Yeah, that's also kind of interesting.
I suppose they just saw it and it's like, is that supposed to be something that he's wearing or part of his actual body?
Oh yeah, the weird the thing around his thing. Like I think usually it's a birthmark, but in Fleetway it looks like they designed it to look more like a necklace.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is interesting. I didn't even notice that, but now I can't see it anymore.
Yeah, I know. I guess they just didn't know at the time, like, it's just a birthmark or something, and the artwork just wasn't really being clear about it.
I guess oh well, this works. I guess.
Yeah.
It feels like a movie retcon. Like we have to make it look cooler. Let's make it all metal and all that. But yeah, that was this comic. Kind of weird to have realistic guns, so I guess Shadow the Hedgehog was the first time we have realistic guns in Sonic.
Well, I'm trying to think, because, realistic guns. I think, maybe Fleetway was first, then Archie was first. Archie happened one time when Knack and his Weasel Gang had realistic guns for a while, and then Shadow's game.
Good, I love realistic guns. Yeah. Give them to me. I want to see them in Frontiers, too. Make Sonic a real Frontier, like a cowboy hat, big 6-shooter. Sounds fun. Why not?
Of course, if they give him a gun, they have to put the plastic orange tip on the end. Oh no, it's safety. Yeah.
Just shoot little rubber tips.
I think that's gonna happen if they decide to re-release Shadow's game. They're just gonna have to retexture all the guns so that there's an orange tip at the end.
I wouldn't be surprised.
They're just shooting things. No worries.
But yeah, look, this is your comic, so anything else you wanted to say about this issue?
Oh, not really. I pretty much said all what I remember when I first read that issue.
Fair enough. Guess we don't move on to the next issue.
Well, just a fact, I'm noticing in the issue, they're saying, the long-awaited Mega Drive Supercharger, the Mega Drive 32X, goes on sale this month with a recommended retail price of £149. Which, by today's money, is £280.
Ooh, and that's for such a worthless device.
Just thought I'd mention it.
Alright, let me get the shot real quick. Never mind.
No worry about that.
But yeah, so just to know, that's where in the timeline we are. That's 32X was released, but the Saturn wasn't yet.
Yeah.
So, the next Sonic the Comic issue. Anyone wants to do a synopsis about the freezing stage, frozen ice story?
Let's see. I'll quickly do this one.
Alrighty.
Alright, so Sonic and his gang arrive in the zone. So everything's all frozen, everything wonder what's this going on. So we gotta find the villagers, and it turns out, they're all frozen, and it's caused by this big robot with a freeze gun. It's I did it, but then Sonic quickly takes it out. So it's Tails yeah, good job. Sonic's hey, it's not over yet, pizza brain. So they jump down the hole, and they find this, really disturbing mad scientist who's I have created this robot that will freeze everything. They mocked my theories of freezing the world. Well, who's laughing now? Mwahaha. So a fight breaks out. Porker and Tails get frozen. I forgot Johnny's not in with them in that group. Anyway, so the Sonic gets his feet frozen, and he somehow manages to talk some sense into... Well, first he breaks out of the frozen ice, beats up the robots, by vibrating his feet so fast that he manages to break out of the ice. And his fast friction of running around melts Tails and Porker. So they grab the scientists, there, your plans are foiled. And then Sonic does you're not good at this villain stuff. Why not try and do something good? The scientist's oh, okay. And then the whole village unfreezes and everyone lives happily ever after.
What is
I did want to point out that Johnny was with them. He just got froze immediately by the first robot.
Yeah.
Poor Johnny.
Oh, yeah. Because that's weird, because I didn't see, Johnny go down the hole. Oh, right, yeah, now I remember. I was thinking too much of the other panel, sorry.
Yeah, he didn't go down the hole.
Rabbit don't go down the hole.
Nope. Man, this is super detailed artist, man. I love the final page of the town when it's finally unfrozen.
Yeah, it looks like Nutwood.
Yeah, pretty much. Looks very nice. I also love the rebuilt robot looking derpy now being a maid or something.
Yeah.
I also love how creepy the scientist looks, because he looks like you can imagine him as a recurring villain who would hang out with Robotnik, and also I could totally see him being played by Tony Robinson.
Looks more like a child molester now that I look at it.
Oh my!
Well, Sonic and friends are all.
It's that face. It's that freaking face that he makes in that one panel. It's hey, you want some candy, Sonic?
Oh dear.
I appear to have broken Luke.
Because now he does look like an extremely creepy version of Tony Robinson.
Yeah.
Toby Robinson, he's the guy from... he
Well,
does
he
the
played
scroll.
Baldric in Blackadder, but he also plays the Sheriff of Nottingham in Maid Marian and Her Merry Men, which is a brilliant BBC show.
And he does the audiobooks for Discworld, I think. But yeah, I knew him from Blackadder. That was what I was looking for. All right.
Yeah.
He mostly does like archaeology stuff.
All right. Cool.
Mhm.
Nerdy actor.
So
Not
I
sure why
didn't know who Tony Robinson was, so I had to Google him.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I can imagine his voice coming out of this character. At first, I was just like imagining some kind of medieval scientist kind of voice, but kind of doofenshmirtzy. But then, like when he's defeated, he says some very British things.
He's immediately so weak. Like, yeah.
Well, now
Oh yeah, it's a fair cop, Governor.
Yeah.
God.
well, now that you bring it up, yeah, this evil scientist does kind of look like Doofenshmirtz's like long lost relative in some way.
Doofenshmirtz's cousin who's not allowed near elementary schools.
Smooth and dirt.
Smooth dirt.
Yeah, that was fun and extreme.
I also love the heat the temperature indicator because it starts off like freezing, isn't it? Cold, chilly, brisk, warm. T-shirt.
T-shirt.
That's my favorite kind of weather.
Yeah, T-shirt weather, which is not really a thing right now over here.
Yeah.
Or here.
Winter's coming, like they kept warning us about.
I mean, it's only 60 degrees Fahrenheit here in Montana, so...
Yeah, right now it's 54 Fahrenheit over here in Illinois.
I have no idea. And at least it's dry, so that makes me happy, I guess.
Let's see. 60 degrees Fahrenheit is about 15.5 degrees Celsius.
All right. That sounds good.
And 54 degrees is 12.
Ah.
Not too bad. At least you're still above zero.
Yeah, that's true.
Unlike my IQ. Anyway, the next story, continuing with Knuckles. Who wants to do it?
I also love the panel where Sonic is kicking all the robots. And you can see like all their wires. I actually like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they love doing it. And those British face expressions, just goofy.
It's kind of funny of like how simplistic Sonic looks compares to like Killer, the scientist, and the robots and everything else.
Yeah, it really looks out of place. I guess they're already getting us ready for Sonic Next Gen and all that.
Yeah.
You can definitely tell this issue was made to be a one-off because whoever drew it took so much time to draw all of these little details. They're like, "Hey, you done with that issue yet?" No.
Okay then.
All right, we'll push it back a couple months.
It's extremely detailed, yeah. It kind of reminds you of Don Rosa, the Scrooge McDuck artist. Except more creepy and disgusting looking here.
Yeah.
But, I love it.
Looks to me mostly like a discount Dr. Wily.
I also didn't notice he's got his own sign that says "Escape Route for Defeated Villains."
He did his homework, I guess.
Yeah, I better put this here in case I actually get defeated so I know where to go.
All he's missing is the self-destruct button on all of his stuff.
Well, he hadn't had much time to practice his being defeated stuff yet. Hasn't happened to him yet. Where's the exit? I can't find it.
It's on the last page on the top left panel.
Oh, now I see it, yeah. It was about to leave in that direction.
Yeah.
How nice. Awesome art style. Well, except for Tales of Sonic, they look creepy, but everything else looks pretty awesome. Right. Knuckles and the Mark Steel Brothers. Oh boy. But yet again, Knuckles is a weird smirk.
I don't know why, but every time I hear you say smirk, it almost kind of sounds like the Smurfs. I don't know why.
Yeah, Knuckles and his happy Smurfs.
Knuckles Smurf.
The Knuckles Smurf, yeah, why not?
Damn Smurfs eating a mushroom.
It's like the strong Smurf and the grumpy Smurf combined in one.
Yeah, I hate Mondays.
And he has the Papa Smurf's clothing, because he has to be red.
Oh
too.
yeah. Papa Smurf's aggressive brother.
Every time someone wants to go to Papa Smurf for advice, but he accidentally talked to him, he just punches them in the face. For fuck you and your stupid problems, I don't care. It's like, oh, whoops, it's Papa Smurf's angry twin brother again. Darn it. That'll be funny. Oh, well. Anyway, yeah, who wants to do the synopsis of this one? Or is it my turn this time?
Oh, you can go ahead.
Guess I'll do it. Okay, so Knuckles in Carnival Night Zone, and the Marxo brothers want to make him a deal because they're too scared fighting him directly on. So they want to make him a business partner. Of course, Knuckles isn't particularly interested, but yet for some reason he still goes along with it, or at least allows them to give him a tour of the place. So Knuckles goes along, but he sees the guard robots walking around, and he thinks they're enemies, so he immediately destroys them in another wacky look. So yeah, if you have a fetish for the destroyed, goofy-looking robots, this is your issue. What is it, Ewan?
No, just saying what the destroyed trooper said, like, drat. Decapitated.
Such a nice low blow. Casual thing, and drat, I'm dead.
My head has been knocked off. Drat.
Yeah. It's like, oh, not again.
Yeah.
It's such a shame because they were so introduced
am I right?
Epic Judge Dredd enemies, and now they're just goofballs who just immediately get destroyed. I love how goofy they march to. And the creepy clown in the carnival. The art style is great. But yeah, Knuckles is just beating up the guard robot for no reason, so the Marxo brothers aren't very happy with it. And Knuckles is not interested, but Marxo Brothers has an evil plan. He has a wonderful roller coaster ready for Knuckles to go. The White Knuckles roller coaster. But of course it's an evil trap, but Knuckles doesn't know it. And that's where we leave off on this exciting cliffhanger. With spooky ghost, too. We should have read this comic next week, of next time.
Yeah.
Well, it is the October season, so we're just on time with it.
Fair enough. So here you go. Here's our Halloween stuff for this stream.
Yeah.
Yeah, anyone else has something to say about this comic?
Probably not. I think I already just said it with the Trooper Bagnick just going drat.
Perfect, yeah. All robots should say that.
Not much to say about this art. It's just, soldiers being, hey, you stupid boy, that was out of guys that we have paid for, and blah, blah, blah. And then it's like, here, we'll put you on this code guard. Whee!
Pretty much, yeah. Random. Okay, well then we move on to the next issue, I guess.
Actually, I did have one little thing.
Okay.
And it's the panel where Knuckles starts fighting the robots.
Oh, yeah.
And, like, Groucho's trying to, like, reason with him. And there's just Harpio just honking his horn at him.
He's kind of funny to look at. He never plays a part in the story, but he always looks kind of stupid. I mean, later he has a bucket on his leg and all that.
It's because he's based on Harpo Marx, who never talked.
Yeah.
I see. That makes sense.
Yeah, he carried a horn around.
Yeah, right. He always carried a horn around, yeah.
I'm not too familiar with the Marxo brothers. But yeah, he's kind of funny. Always has like a background joke somewhere going on. Alrighty, that was that comic. So for the next one, there was one thing I found interesting. They always show what games, how the games are selling for all the systems. Kind of interesting that already Sonic 2 is beating Sonic 3. Okay, Sonic 3 is all the way this worst selling Sonic game, even though it's relatively new at this point. This kind of goes to show because I think Sonic 2 and 1 sold like 60 million copies, while Sonic 3 only got 1 million in total. So it's kind of interesting to see that reflected here. Yeah, it was just a random detail I want to bring up.
Yeah, well, I guess it's a coincidence because, like, nowadays, people are always making those big arguments of, like, which Sonic sprite is the most superior, Sonic 2 or Sonic 3 sprite.
In terms of sales, Sonic 2, although I personally prefer Sonic 3. But yeah, also I have to kind of bring up, they keep calling their readers boomers. That's like the running gag here, based on Sonic Boom, I guess. But now that reads differently, like only old people are reading these magazines. Hey, you old farts, you boomers. Yeah.
I mean, what's up, boomers?
Yeah, near the end of Sonic the Comics run, if I remember, it was Sonic. They often have like messages from Sonic himself saying it.
You boomer, he's insulting his own readers. That's interesting. Oh well, just a little detail I wanted to bring up.
Yeah, the next issue.
Issue.
Yeah, the next issue where it's first time we get to see Amy get her own solo story.
Eventually, yes. But first, we get Ice Cap Attack, Part 1. Who wants to do the synopsis? Which does contain Amy, but not in her solo role yet. Yeah?
I guess I will.
Sure, go ahead.
All right, so they're at Hilltop Zone. Sonic, Tails, Amy, Johnny, and Porker. They're at Hilltop Zone when suddenly they're attacked by Penguinators. But like Sonic finds it weird that like Penguinators are at Hilltop Zone because they're usually in Ice Cap Zone. And then they find just, a giant portal in the sky that they somehow didn't notice before. And Sonic jumps through, and he meets Knuckles. And then they fight some robots together, and then they form a truce. And Robotnik is like watching them for some reason. And
I love how random and stupid it is. I mean, the beginning, the dialogue. They're just like, oh, we're here. I think we might be under attack. Oh, we're under attack. Like, that's their entire motivation of being there. It's like, oh, let's go to this zone because we might get under attack there. Like, okay. It's such a dumb story.
But you know what? This is not Hilltop Zone.
It isn't? It's Emerald Hill.
Well, no. Yeah, it's Emerald Hill again. But for some reason it's called Hilltop Zone. When it's supposed to be blue.
That's a good point. And don't they live in Emerald Hill? So why are they suddenly back? Why is it special that they're there? Because they're always there. Then again, they were moving last time, I guess.
Yeah.
Although we don't know where they moved their new headquarters. To Amy's home, I guess.
Oh yeah,
I don't know. Maybe it's just still like an earlier issue or story before the Knuckles one.
Also have to bring up, in the Fleetway universe, Sonic never been to Ice Cap Zone. He's only been to Floating Island once, and he was only in Marble Garden Zone, so how the hell does he know what the Ice Cap Zone is?
Well, like, didn't he mention that the Chaos Emeralds had to be put in Ice Cap Zone to be cooled down or something, or was that a different zone?
Right. Okay, you're right. I got my Fleetway lore wrong. But were they under attack by those Penguinators then?
Let's see, like, before, no, I think they were attacked by, like, Captain Plunder. I don't recall any Penguinators in the first time he was there.
Oh, I guess the actual Sonic Freak took place off screen, we have to assume.
And that's why we have Ewan as our Fleetway Sonic expert to fill in on the details.
Yeah, even though I could sometimes be wrong.
How dare you? That's my
How
job.
dare you?
And it's my job to be wrong, not yours. You're the expert.
But yet you should not be wrong yourself, Roger.
I'm not a Fleetway
But I still blame you.
You're learning from Eggman. You're learning the moral of Sonic X. Good job. Yes. Always blame others and take no responsibility or something. Oh, wait, it's the opposite. You should be learning that lesson. You're like Chris Thorndike. Get out of my stream.
You dare compare me to that thing that was supposed to be a human being?
Yeah, you must die.
Truer words have never been spoken.
Don't worry. I'll just get his missus just to give him a thump.
With a frying pan.
There you go.
Yeah. So if Roger goes silent for a long time, then we can only assume, like, she somehow managed to knock him out.
Melting Man, you Archie comic expert. You immediately found out that I used this panel for the...
Yeah, because I was looking at the thumbnail with how you drew, like, Chris and Sonic there, and I'm like, wait, I've seen that before. It's like, it's taken from the very last issue of the Sonic X comics, where they did that whole crossover with the Archie Sonic versions of Shadow and Metal Sonic, meeting the Sonic X versions of the characters.
You caught me cheating, yes. Only had an hour to make the thumbnail, and I couldn't get the poses right.
Yeah, sorry, I couldn't really think of any ideas for the thumbnail for me, because...
So, then again, what's the context behind that panel?
Okay, I'll give a quick context. So yeah, Shadow and Metal Sonic end up there when they escape from the anti-Mobius universe. So they end up in the Sonic X universe, and around this time, the events of Sonic Adventure 2 already happened in the Sonic X universe. So Chris is like overjoyed. It's like, oh, Shadow, you're alive! And of course, Shadow's kind of freaked out, like, who the hell is this kid? But Sonic just finds it amusing. So it's kind of a running theme in that comic. Like, everyone's like, oh, Shadow, I thought you were dead. And Shadow's just kind of bothered with how he's just stuck in this universe where everyone thinks he's dead.
Fair enough. Okay. Maybe.
But yeah, the whole cheating. But yeah, the whole cheating thing's like, yeah, well, I don't mind. Like even like last time with the whole Punch Bag the Game remastered thumbnail, I kind of cheated where I just traced over like a still image of Chris rather than trying to do it my own because it's like, oh, it's Chris. No one will know. No one will care.
Good point. Nobody cares. Yeah. Anyone else has something to say about this?
I like the panel where we see Knuckles like in the snowy area punching all the badniks. But the way the stars are looked, it looks like he's just destroying Christmas decorations.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Fuck you,
Like-
Christmas.
Yeah. Screw you, Christmas, and everything you stand for.
Yeah,
Damn
screw
it.
you.
These
Yeah,
decorations
this is
stop
from-
early every year.
It said that Knuckles' heart grew 3 sizes that day.
Or maybe
Nah.
Knuckles just doing that because he's I don't know, he's Jewish and that he celebrates
He's
Hanukkah.
Jewish.
yeah, Christmas time. I'm Jewish, you assholes.
I thought like you hate seeing like all the decorations appearing in shops earlier and earlier in the year, so he decides to destroy them.
Yeah.
yeah.
Makes logical sense.
August.
Let Halloween happen first.
Yeah.
And Hanukkah. Not
And
Christmas.
Kwanzaa.
And Kwanzaa.
And Harvest Festival.
And
And all that old
Harfuni.
stuff.
And Santa Claus. Oh wait, that's racist now.
I did notice that Amy's spines finally point downwards instead of upwards.
Yep. So they learned that lesson.
For this one issue.
And then it goes right back.
Does it go back?
Later
Depends
on, I
the
assume.
artist.
Yeah. But I just kind of find it funny, like, when Robotnik's spying on, like, Sonic and Knuckles, he apparently has a second monitor that literally just has a close-up of, like, Sonic and Knuckles literally doing a handshake. It's like, is that really necessary?
Yes. He's learning how to do a good handshake. He can't get
Yeah.
them right. It's like, oh, that's how you do it.
I thought it's like watching like international fun war championships or something.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, maybe it's not even Sonic and Knuckles, but just some random other gloved people giving each other things. Yeah, who knows? Let the man have his own fetishes and weird quirks. Darn it.
I've also
Like-
noticed like on I think it's on page 8 where we see like Sonic's full frontal face and he's making like not only you got like with hair looks so pointy, it makes this very strange expression.
Yeah. Kind of weird. I'm not sure if that was if that is in the comic or whether or not someone literally just got like a black pen and just did like a small splotch on his mouth, so it's like going like, oh.
Maybe he also has fangs, because that's kind of what Knuckles' weird smile looks like. Sonic the Blue Christmas tree in that panel anyway.
It's kind of funny. Knuckles didn't punch Sonic because, like, shit like a Christmas tree and him destroying Christmas ornaments and everything.
Good point. Yeah, you should have.
Yeah, evil blue Christmas tree, you must die.
And they really love having those eyes pop out of the robots. If Knuckles ever punches Sonic, I want to see his eye pop out as well.
That'd be interesting to see.
I mean, man, how gory the Streets of Rage comics sometimes get in these Fleetway comics.
Oh yeah.
Surprised. All right.
Oh, yeah, just noticing that one festive pin-up.
Oh
poster,
yeah.
as they
Oh,
call
I
it.
love
yeah.
that one.
Robotnik just like
Yeah.
snoozing away, dreaming that he's going to blow Sonic up with a lot of dynamite.
I imagine that being like a game over screen for a Sonic game.
Oh,
Yeah.
that'd be awesome, yeah.
Yeah, I'm dreaming of a red Christmas.
Like you see like Robotnik gloating over Sonic being defeated and you get game over.
That'd be awesome, yeah. Man, I'm so tempted to print this out and hang it up because, man, I hate Fleetway Sonic so much. He's such an asshole constantly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And especially towards Tails, but also Amy and like everyone. But Knuckles is the only one he has a fun interaction with. Everyone else is like an asshole.
Yeah.
So I don't blame Robotnik. I want to blow him up too.
Now to look at it, Robotnik must be like a really good boy because he opens up that box with the Splats figures. Like, yeah, the scrap badnik that never made it into Sonic 1. Must be very rare.
Oh, he
Yeah,
made
apparently the
them,
bad
so-
Nicks made that for him.
But what's the text
maybe.
there?
Yeah.
To Dr. Harry, love Christmas, Batniks?
Do Dr. R, happy Xmas, love Badniks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that a reference to something?
No, it's just
No.
them doing a greetings card.
Yeah. Just saying who it's from, like, here you go, Dr. Robotnik, here's plushies of ourselves. From the Badniks.
Ah, that's nice. His own Badniks give him presents. Then he gets a lot of presents. Every Badniks give one. What a warming, wholesome picture. I love it. I want it on the poster. I want it on the coffee mug, the part of something good about to be blown up.
Yeah.
I'm just disappointed the Robotnik in his dreams looks so boring. Would have been funnier if he had like this giant shit-eating grin. Like, that's the only problem. Everything else is perfect about this picture. I love it.
Well, the Robotnik is kind of smiling in that picture. It's
Yeah,
just
he
the
is
way the
indeed.
mouth is designed.
I'm just somewhat surprised he didn't dream about himself being a lot more muscular built, like, you know, how he sees himself. Like,
Yeah.
I'm very well built.
Yeah. Me, yeah, that's what I look like! Like in that one episode of Adventures in
Yeah.
Sonic.
That would also be better. Oh well, maybe we should redraw it ourselves someday.
Yeah.
Then the next comic we're talking about is not technically a Sonic comic, but more of a meta thing about Fleetway itself. So a mega.
I also want to bring up this little questionnaire thing called the Mobius
that
Factor. It's got some really hilarious like answers you can like, who would dear love to be Sonic's girlfriend? And one of them is Nosy Toes. And another one is like, Sonic has a relative friend. What's his full name? One of them is Johnny Rotten.
Give me a moment to get the panel.
That'll be on page 17.
17.
Page 18.
Oh, 18. Yeah.
Or 18. Depending on, you know, if you're reading it on Read Comic Online. Because it's 17 on that one.
Oh, I'm not seeing it at all. In either 17 or 18.
Odd. I mean, I'm
wait, issue 41, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
issue 41.
Oh, I'm in the wrong issue. That explains it.
That explains it.
I like the one, what other name is Tails known as? Miles Behind.
Miles behind.
And
Sounds
also
like
got
an
like
insult Sonic would have had in Fleetway.
Yeah.
another one is
Yeah.
like, which three brothers working as electricians also work for Robotnik, and one of them is the Osmond brothers.
That's it.
As soon as I have the page, let's go through them one by one
Yeah.
then. Alright, I am on screen now, finally. I have to admit I wasn't reading this. Alright,
Alright, on which planet does Sonic the Hedgehog live? Is it Zog, Mars, or Mobius?
according to Sonic
clearly
Team,
Mars.
it's D, none of the above.
Yeah. Fools! It's Planet No Name.
It's Sonic's world.
It's Planet Freedom.
Alright,
The land of the sky.
the Chaos Emerald's not funny. Yeah, who would dearly love to be Sonic's girlfriend? Rosie Nose, Amy Rose, Nosy Toes.
Nosy Toes.
Sonic has a rabbit friend. What is his full name? Cream. He was trans in this version? Oh no, Johnny
No,
Lightfoot.
Caratia.
Caratia, there you go.
Yeah.
Screw little Johnny Lightfoot. We want cream and vanilla and Carrot.
At first I thought you said Sonic has a rabid friend, like, you know, he's got rabies or something.
It's a dog friend who has rabies. Yes, exactly.
No, don't worry about him.
Just let him bite Robotnik. That'd be great. Just have a Flicky who has rabies and just throw him in the Robotnik's base. Here, like this. Use this one for your Badniks.
Yeah.
See how that goes. That would be dark. I love it. What makes Sonic so exceptional? Being a cool dude, speed showing off. D, being an asshole. The C showing off.
All of the above.
I guess. Probably.
You skipped who is the keeper of the Chaos Emeralds. Is it Knuckles, Buckles, or Chuckles?
Funny enough, there actually is a character named Chuckles. That was well, it was a short Archie Sonic story of like the chows. It's like, oh well, I have a pet chow. We'll call it Chonic. Yours is Chails, and yours can be Chuckles. Oh, hardy har.
There you go.
But does he Knuckles?
Well, yeah, he is pretty strong from what I remember. So, so yes, but in terms of design,
Unlike Sonic, he does Knuckle.
But in terms of the design, no, it's not the Chow version of Knuckles. It's just a regular Chow design for that story.
Oh.
Oh.
Yeah, then Tails miles behind, which I accidentally cut off. What's Robotnik's ship? Most of them are
Egghead,
funny.
Death Egg, or Death Head.
Death Egg isn't a ship, so it's kind of a stupid question.
It's also a reference to a 2000 AD's comic character, who is like this robotic bounty hunter called Death's Head.
Oh, cool.
I think there were some comics where he like hung out with Doctor Who.
Oh.
Interesting.
Nobody knows anything about Doctor Who.
What is the full name of the pig who regularly appears with Sonic? It's obviously Porky Pig.
Yeah, of course. Yes, I tell you, Sonic, it's bad news, Sonic.
That would be great, yeah.
We need to stop Dr. Egg Robotnik.
Oh, that'd be great.
One, yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, why? Sonic's going fast. As fast as really fast. Yeah.
Pretty quick.
Yeah, pretty quick. Yeah.
That sounds more like the South Park character. I don't know his name anymore. Not Timmy.
Oh yeah, the guy with the crutches. Yeah.
But, yeah,
Jimmy.
Jimmy, that wasn't Jimmy, yeah.
Oh, Jimmy. I don't know my South Park knowledge.
Timmy can only say his own name. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Live along, Timmo.
Exactly.
Like that.
That was pretty epic, yeah. And most of the other jokes are not funny. It's just
Where's the floating island? In the sky.
Where's Kinterboy's base? Yeah, Sonic's underground base, Sonic's secret base, Sonic's undersea world.
Also, there's one like in Sonic 3's Ice Cap Zone. What did Sonic ride on? A tin tray, a snowboard, or ski jets?
he rode on Amy.
Oh.
On the
Bad
Amy.
joke.
Oh, jeez.
Sorry, cancel.
Yeah, ski jets.
There you
I
go.
like the idea of him going down that slope on a tin tray.
Yeah.
That would be
Well, I mean, Tails did go sliding on that trash can lid, so why not?
There you go, close enough.
He could have been doing that if they give you ability to select Tails on his own.
Sure. But yeah, let's move on, I think.
Alright, to the Mega Droid thing.
I guess so, yeah. I guess we can talk briefly about it. But yeah, it's mostly just an in-joke about the Fleetway itself. So Mega Droid's supposed to be the guy who answers the letter sent in and has the intro at the beginning of every Fleetway comic. So now he's like a character.
And
I
calling
kinda
everyone
skipped this one.
boomers.
Yeah, I kind of skipped this one because it's just focusing on the mascot of the Fleetway comics. But yeah,
I guess. Yeah, you want to
but-
talk about this one?
Well, not really sure there's not much to say about it, really. Just him, like, as you said, it's like all meta, like what goes on in like the Fleetway building of making Sonic the comic.
Yeah, it's not too much interesting. Mostly bad dad jokes. Although it's kind of weird, he just randomly says that Sonic and Amy marrying is a plot that's in their writing room at this point.
I'm looking at this one thing where he's like, there's not so queer as humus. Which is like,
boy, that's
What does
something that
that
hasn't aged
mean?
well.
I don't
Is
know.
that a British saying I've never heard before?
It could be. I mean,
Oh,
the thing
Well, I
that,
mean,
That's
it's not really
called
that
humans, but it's like says it as like whom's.
yes. Humus.
Yeah, so we're
Yeah.
talking about Sonic and Amy marrying and calling it queer. Okay, I guess he doesn't mean the meaning of the word queer.
Well, back in those days, queer
Yeah.
means strange.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I mean, it's not really that like a UK thing. Because I mean, like Jack says it in A Nightmare Before Christmas during the "What's This Song."
I know.
Yeah.
But it was just kind of funny. He says exactly.
But yeah, nowadays that word has a whole other different meaning. Just like what
Yeah.
happened with ass and jackass. Yeah.
I kind of love the artist room, kind of looking like a children's party room. All the
Yeah.
soda pop and everything looks like it's just a children's party. Especially love the Robotnik dartboard. I love that detail. But yeah, I guess it's just meta stuff, bunch of silly
Yeah.
jokes.
But yeah, I mean, one thing have noticed for quite a while is how his whole sort of black visor sort of resembles a Mega Drive controller.
Oh, that's
Oh.
it. I didn't see that. Well, yeah, you're right.
Because in the future, he gets a redesign in which he
his whole body now resembles a Mega Drive. Or at least a Sega Saturn of sorts.
Oh, it's a shame they cancelled it after Sonic Adventure. I would love to see his face as a Dreamcast controller or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, it makes sense to turn a Mega Drive controller into sunglasses. Oh, that's a cool detail. I didn't even notice that. But yeah, they thought about it, I guess.
Yeah.
So yeah, the Knuckles Part 3. Anyone wants to do a synopsis?
I mean, there's not much to talk about.
No,
The synopsis
not really.
is the Marxio brothers try and kill Knuckles, and he doesn't notice.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of a filler story now that I think about it.
Isn't everything a filler story, pretty much?
Yeah.
I
I mean,
it's kind of
anything-
funny. Knuckles randomly punches things that he thinks is part of the attraction, so he's being a dick.
He like says, "Oh, I can sit back and relax, but this is more fun."
Yeah.
Destroy half the attraction. Yay!
Whee! Mass destruction.
But yeah, so it's supposed to be that they try to kill Knuckles in this Death Lead roller coaster where he's kind of interacting with it and still punching things even though he shouldn't. And then
Yeah.
you think he's going to confront the Marxio brothers, but he's dumb, so you think, oh, this is a great roller coaster, let's have more fun. And that's pretty much this comic, yeah.
Yeah.
Art is great.
Yeah.
Speaking of
Well, yeah, that's
British
good.
phrases, Knuckles says, "I wonder if the Marxio brothers were taking the Mickey when they said this
Oh,
was
yeah,
a
taking
white
the-
Oh, yeah,
Knuckles,
that
right?"
one.
Could one of you Brits explain that?
Joking.
Okay.
I thought it was like,
that.
yeah, I thought it was referencing like a Mickey Finn or something.
Mickey Mouse, because he's in a theme park, smarty pants. Disney World.
Yeah.
It's basically a safer work version of taking the piss.
Ah,
Pretty
there we
much.
go. So Mickey Mouse is a different word for piss in Britain.
What,
Oh, no.
Piss the mouse?
Piss the
Kicking
mouse.
Mickey Mouse in the back.
Haha, taking the piss, guys. Haha.
Oh, yeah!
Yeah.
He says that's the Eurovision version of Mickey.
Eurovision?
Euro Disney. Euro Disney. I mean Euro Disney.
There you
Oh,
go.
Euro Disney. Because I'm about to say, what? Eurovision? Mickey in Eurovision? What's going on? What's the
That'd
joke?
be a horrible
Dude,
song.
Tell me.
Euro Disney.
Mickey Mouse singing, oh boy. Oh boy. La la. Rather not.
I'm singing in the rain. Oh.
I also want to point out this panel which has like this Streets of Rage battle wagon, which
Oh,
it
yeah,
does look
that
pretty cool. One like, was this actual merchandise or like, does this actually appear in the games at all?
No, I don't remember ever a car
Yeah.
showing up in Streets of Rage. You do.
Not really.
ride a motorbike
It does look
at
pretty
some
cool
point.
though.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, including the, like, sort of like the cutaway type specs, like what's inside the van or what's in that area. Just kind of reminds me of those old sort of 21st century comics from like Thunderbirds, like Stingray,
Yeah.
Captain Scarlet, where they have like these posters of like the vehicles, and they have like cutaway sections saying like what
Yeah.
happens in that area and so forth.
But yeah,
That's
it
just
looks
how
like a toy you should be able to buy. Like I've seen like.
Yeah, it
turtle
does make me
fans like
think
that.
of the Ninja Turtles battle wagon.
Yeah, exactly. The Turtles van.
Yeah.
But yeah, it does not show up in the video games as far as I remember. And I played all
No.
4 of them, so I only remember them riding a motorcycle. I think in the third game. But yeah, I guess they just wanted something for their special comic. I guess.
Yeah. Oop. Apparently, Melting Man's PC crashed.
Yeah.
Are you there,
Hello?
Melting Man?
They're back.
Hello.
Hello.
Yep.
Okay.
He's
That's good.
back.
Yeah. Apparently, my PC couldn't handle all that Britishness.
Apparently, not.
Yeah.
You missed out on the awesome Streets of Rage battle wagon. Oh well.
Yeah.
But you're right on time for Amy's special adventure. You want to do the synopsis? Because you're the cute girl guy from us. The one who,
Might as well, since yes, just to fix up the whole weird or at least the way the scans were weirdly handled for this.
Yeah.
Okay, so anyway, it actually starts with Sonic and his team going off to Chemical Plant Zone because they hear like, oh no, there's trouble afoot, and he was like, hey, you forgot about me, and Sonic's like, oh, screw you, bitch, we're going. So like he was like, oh, fine, I'm powerful, I can defend for myself. And then it turns out, oh no, the distress signal at Chemical Plant Zone was a lie, and Buzz Bombers are here to attack the Emerald Hill folks. So yeah, so he's like, "Oh well, I'll teach them a lesson." So she gets her crossbow ready with her darts, but unfortunately, she runs out of darts. It's like, "Oh crap, I ran out of darts!" So then she makes a jump for it, and then the buzz bombers just crash into the wall. And then Sonic and the friends come back. It's like, "Oh hey, Amy, did we miss anything?" And he was like, "Oh, nothing that I couldn't handle." And then it ends.
Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba. Man, I thought that Amy was wearing like caveman clothes for a while before I saw
Yes, what is with that leotard that she's wearing? Yeah.
It is interesting seeing her wear a different kind of dress than her usual Peter.
Yeah, because I think this is like the first story where she's now starting to wear something a bit different than her usual Sonic CD outfit.
Yeah, I guess the British artists hated her original outfit. Oh, well.
Or just the fact that, she's a female and they felt like, no, we've got to change it up a bit, otherwise,
Hey, we gotta make it more feminine. Yeah.
Yeah.
If there's one thing we know about girls, is they have lots of clothes.
yeah, they have so many shoes and clothes and shoes.
This comic really feels like it should have appeared earlier because it doesn't really match up with how she was in the last episode. Because so far, her being in love with Sonic and not being part of his group hasn't really been relevant. I mean, she's always seen in the background looking badass. So now this story suddenly comes out like, oh, you're not allowed to play because you're a girl. Sonic kind of comes out of nowhere. Like this feels like this should have been earlier when she was first introduced. But then again, she hasn't really done much in the other episodes yet. She's always been a background character, so I guess it still kind of makes sense, but it still feels a bit weird.
Also, when Sonic and friends leave her, she says hedgehogs.
Oh right, yeah,
Hedgehogs.
Which is weird for two reasons.
Yeah,
yeah.
Definitely.
Well, I guess she didn't want to blame all boys. Just blame all hedgehogs. Which
blame all the hedgehogs, including myself.
I would have done the same. I would have left me behind too. Well, that's kind of depressing.
And to think Sega would take notes from this, especially nowadays where it kind of feels like Sega's just being sexist towards Amy.
But also, this is the first time in Fleetway we actually see a different town. Like, it isn't... Well, okay, that's not entirely true. But, like, now Green Hill Zone also has a town. So far, it's always been Emerald Hill Zone. I kind of prefer how this town looks like. But, yeah, that's not true. We saw more towns. Never mind.
Yeah. But then again,
I do like how cool she looks like taking down those buzz bombers.
Yeah.
This is pretty awesome, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, pew, pew, pew.
The art style is great in this one. I also love the jump at the end. It looks very cinematic. Like, I can see it happen in slow motion, like, no. That shot.
It's like, oh crap. Oh, wait, here, I'm safe.
It's kind of interesting of Robotnik to think that 6 buzz bombers would be enough to raise the town in the short time Sonic was gone.
Yeah, you think he would have sent like his soldier bandits or whatnot because they're like more tougher.
Yep.
Nah.
But it also doesn't make sense that he wants to distract Sonic so he can attack Green Hill Zone, but he usually is in Emerald Hill Zone, which is a different island.
Yeah.
So why did he need to distract him anyway? Because Sonic isn't usually here anyway.
But then again, like everywhere at this point looks like Emerald Hill Zone because they keep using the red and yellow checkerboard pattern. Even Hilltop Zone apparently looks like Emerald Hill.
Much, everything is Emerald Hill in the Fleetway Sonic universe.
Yes.
Emerald Hill is Fleetway's Green Hill.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, they were doing it way before Sega made it mainstream.
Yeah, that's the one thing I'm learning from Sonic X and Fleetway. Like a lot of things I blame on modern Sonic was happening all along. Oh well.
But yeah, apparently also another reference to another story which, if you haven't picked up that is particular special issue, then you're shit out of luck.
Oh yeah, the poster magazine thing.
Yeah.
Second time we missed out on a spin-off.
Yeah. Because they expect you to get everything, even though I wanted to try and get all the issues as possible, but I would be very lucky to even get one of the specials. I think I only ever managed to pick up about 2.
Then again, I guess it's not super important you know about it to understand the story, but all I need to know is she saved him, I guess.
Yeah, because I know with spin-offs and one-shots, there's a whole bunch of that with RG Sonic, but Fleetway, I think there's only a small handful of them for the poster mags and whatnot.
Sound cool if the posters are just as cool as Robotnik sleeping and dreaming of Sonic dying. Then we should put some effort
Maybe that should be
our.
yeah, that should be like our Christmas special. Us doing our own versions of that drawing.
Could do. 'Cause I mean,
Yeah,
it'd
that'd
be
be
fun
fun.
to see what we could make.
A collab between all of us, all drawing
Yeah,
it together.
which is kind of ironic, with kind of coincidence, because like last year I helped out with doing that drawing based off of that one joke that Luke did, the whole bit with the Robotnik sleeping with a body pillow.
Oh, that.
A mean bean body pillow. Good times.
That it is.
Yeah.
Well, we went through the Fleetway. It's only 3 this time because I was kind of busy,
Yeah.
but I wanted to at least continue it a little bit. Ewan is horribly disappointed. He wanted to talk about the next issue.
Yeah, just because it's actually got like a Robotnik-centered story about what goes on in the background and such.
Well,
Oh, I
at least
love this cover with Robotnik stuck in the chimney.
Oh yeah.
It's a Robotnik claws.
But yeah, you'll probably have to wait until the next 2 weeks to see that, guys.
Yeah.
Unless you just want to zip straight over to Read Comics Online website.
Or just go to archive.org like I do.
whatever
Whichever
is convenient for you. But
Exactly.
yeah, that's for next time, because what's better to do on a Halloween night than to talk about a Christmas story, right?
It's a nightmare before Christmas.
There you go.
Yeah, it comes earlier every year.
But yeah,
Right.
that was it for the stream, I guess. Anything else we want to talk about? They announced that we're going to get a prequel comic for Sonic Frontiers, which surprised me because that's not related to the animation we're getting. Because, man, Sonic Frontiers is getting a lot of prologue stuff.
Oh yeah, the prologue comic that's coming out, which is again a web comic, and so I guess IDW is no longer doing those one-shot comics advertised games, even though that only happened once.
Well, they just want to get as many people as possible to read the comics, which is easier done online, I guess.
True.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah.
But yeah, I
It
guess
does- I am rather curious, like what they're going to cover in that comic.
so am I, because it doesn't feel like there's much happening. I mean, the last Tales chat tube already showed what Tales was doing before when he got the message about the Gale's Emerald. So all that's left is they're flying towards the island and get captured. So how they got to fill up a whole comic and a cartoon, I don't know.
I thought
well, I'm
maybe
already.
I'm sorry, I thought we'd get maybe some lore, like how did the staff that those islands come about? Like how did Sage and her robot friends come about? That sort of thing.
Yeah, but I assume that's going to happen in the game itself. Otherwise, what is the
Right.
game going to do?
Well, I'm already placing bets that this prequel comic is gonna contradict stuff that happens in the prequel cartoon and the game itself, because we all know how it worked so well when Sonic Forces did it.
Well, Sonic Forces didn't contradict itself, except for Infinite, because it was clear that they changed his backstory halfway through production.
Well, they did. Well, they contradicted Infinite and the whole mission with Shadow with the locations.
That's true, yeah. But I think the comic was correct because it didn't make sense in the game. But yeah, that's a whole different discussion, I guess. So I guess we'll be talking about that next time on the stream when the comic and the cartoon are finished. But Sonic Frontiers isn't released next stream? Yeah, it's in November.
Don't
right?
think so.
November.
Yeah, it's November.
Yeah, November 8th, I think.
So, next stream is going to be the last stream where we're still Sonic Frontiers virgins, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, if anyone plays Sonic Speed Simulator, today they have had it in Pumpkin Hill Zone. So,
Ah, nice.
Finally,
have
Sonic
fun with that
Adventure
if you
level.
want.
Is it an instrumental version of the Pumpkin Hill theme, or does it still have the stupid rap song in it?
No, it's completely instrumental because
Good.
I'm
I
sure
like the
they
rap
don't
songs.
want any affiliation with that rapper anymore.
Oh yeah, knowing his history.
yeah.
And
Oh, well.
so yeah, there's Sonic Frontiers coming out, and Speed Simulator getting all the new stuff,
I have
and
to
of
admit,
course,
it looks amazing. The screenshot.
yeah. And then of course we got IDW with all the new stuff coming out with Scrapnik Island, where Mecha Knuckles comes back from the dead, and as well as the Tails 30th anniversary special, where Wendy Witchcard makes her return.
Oh, you're happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean Witchcard, yeah. Not
Over
Wendy
the moon.
Witchcard. That's only an Archie Sonic. I would have loved to see the Archie Sonic designs come back, but oh well. They're designed to be more like how they look like in the original game for IDW.
If modernized.
Alrighty. Well, good night, Godfroth. He went to bed a long time ago, probably. I missed the chat. Nobody has anything else to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, one thing about Sonic Speed Simulator, apparently it's banned in some countries, including Netherlands and Belgium, so
Yeah.
we're shit out of
Because
luck.
of loot boxes.
What for?
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Loot
we're again they have
boxes.
stronger anti-gambling laws so far that
Yeah.
these games count. Although the
Yeah.
mobile phone games are still available, so I'm not sure how that goes. So
Must be
yeah, I
something.
guess I'm gonna miss out on these levels. Oh, well.
Unless you use a
And
VPN
that really
thingy.
sucks.
Unless you use today's sponsor, NordVPN. No.
Or, just pirate it. They're taking the mods to Pirates Bay.
It's kind of hard to do with an online game. But, who knows?
Yeah.
I'm sure I'll figure out something if I desperately want it enough. But yeah, I guess that ends our stream. We must be tired by now.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sorry.
A little bit. Yeah.
Throat's getting a little sore.
So, good night, everyone, and until next time, I guess.
Yep, for our Halloween stream, Dissected Alive Undead, and then alive again. Ooh.
Right. Goodbye, everyone.
Woohoo!